And there we go. We are live. Top Corner Talk, the season finale, boys, underway. Here to talk all things. It's been a few weeks, so we're a little behind, but thanks you guys for all tuning in. Looks like we've got a few folks already in the chat. Of course, I'm Jeremy here with two of my good friends in the game of football, Musa, Mo Football, and of course, Oscar, who you know is one of the capos down in the North End. So, gentlemen, before we dive into anything else, Oscar, Mo, how are we doing tonight?
Man, you just put my government name out there. What's up?
I'm sorry. We can find it on Facebook if we have to.
Just kidding. We're still
Oh,
recovering
Danielle,
from
it's
a
too
long
early
season.
for this. Come on.
Uh-oh. We've already started in the chat. Go ahead, guys.
Oh, it's
Ah.
dead, and you're gonna start in trouble. But then we'll get right back to you. But yes, Jeremy, it's good to be back. I know we St. Louis as fans are a little depressed, but you know what? We'll have a good therapy session and see what the future holds for us.
And Oscar, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. A little upset with what happened yesterday. Obviously, there was hopes of making a run in the playoff for the boys, and I know I was not like the full on board with CITY2, but I was obviously cheering for them as part of the city, and um, every time I went to the games, it was fun, and I had so much fun there with everybody. So when we went for the first round of playoff was a great atmosphere. I was not able to go yesterday, but just upset with that. But it's just part of soccer, and for the main MLS, is now we can watch good soccer.
This is true.
Shots fire.
So no, it's okay. We'll get to the point of playing good soccer again. That's kind of the hope, I guess, guys.
You're gonna talk about Man United now?
No. I'm not
Oh,
jinxing anything to do
okay.
over on that side of the pond. I'm enjoying the little bit of good luck that I've had. But since you did kind of toss that out there, I will, just for sake of conversation, we'll kick it off with that, I suppose, if I can figure out how to share my screen on this. And or drop a file in the chat. I'll drop a file in the chat.
Okay.
And we can kind of kick things off with the CITY2, just a real brief touch on CITY2, since that is kind of the hot news. Most recent news, of course, losing yesterday 2-0 to Minnesota United in the playoffs at Energizer Park last night in the rain. I was not there either. This is a little small, so I apologize, but this is courtesy of Ben Griffith's Streamlit site. So you can see it was a game statistically dominated by City, especially in that second half. XG 2.55 to 0.85. They had the advantage in possession, field tilt, passes in the opponent's half. And it was really just a really weird game. The opening goal coming from Logan Dorsey on just what was really a quick counter, a long ball played over Cam Seeley, and just a real quick turn and shoot past Christian Oliveras, who wasn't really ready or didn't seem ready, but it went in. And then they got the second goal on what was honestly an inexcusable lapse on a corner that came against the run of play in the 80th minute by Randall. And that was the difference. But CITY2 guys just could not get anything going. You can kind of see they really were aggressive from their passing map. You can see on the upper left corner there, they had at least a wall of 3 or 4 attackers that were constantly in the mix, where you can also see, on the flip side, the Minnesota United average positioning is just clogging up the middle. But passes in the final third, we were all over the place, really trying to use those wide spaces. But guys, what did you see in that game? And what did you take away from the overall CITY2 season?
Go ahead, Mo.
Wow. Try to be. Well, overall, the whole season, I think it was the usual CITY2 high explosive team. Um, I think it looks like for the last game, which was, I guess, on Sunday, kind of got exposed to maybe where the team knew who our best players were, and they make sure to lock down those players. And it did not help that maybe Macau did not have the best game of his days. And I think there was also the questionable left back as Miggy be playing left back maybe. Um, I think it looked like there was a whole bunch of questionable moments. They didn't look like themselves at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, my first questions, and I think a lot of people were asking, and those in the chats and like groups everywhere before the game was like, why there was two pieces? Well, there was one piece missing, and why there was a player playing in out of position. Specifically having Miggy on the left or right back, whatever he was placed. But because that's like my biggest issue with the game is that Miggy was one of the best center midfielders as a box to box midfielder in the league and for the team. Like he was the one who was providing the most participation towards goals and assists. So like, why would you implement take him out of position and put him on a non effective place? So that was a very confusing thing in the setup.
Mhm.
Um, because you have to have another left back or right back. Like there's no way
Yeah.
there was no one else that you can put there because of Orozco was out. That what as far as I know, I think he was hurt, and that's why he was out of the lineup. But um, why? That's my biggest question. Like, why would you put such a big uh, skill, like such a big tool in the midfield, get it out of place,
Mhm.
and put him on the side. And you could see it on the game and the development of the game that there was not the connections that you wanted, the way that they were have been playing. There was no the fluent soccer, fast paced soccer that they were used to show you. It was like very predictable, and that's why Minnesota was very good at blocking Mickey Joyner, blocking McSorley because there was just not that pace and quick movement of the ball. So it was very predictable.
Well, and to your point too, it's like you said, it kind of destabilizes a midfield. I mean, not saying that Antwi and Kuzain and the rest of the fellows there can't get the job done, but you're kind of you get used to a double pivot. It changes substitution habits, right? Because maybe Antwi comes in off the bench to replace Miggy in the second half. Now you don't have that option either. So no, I didn't see. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to do a lot of social media browsing after the match. I was not there either, so I don't know if they spoke about why Orozco was unavailable. I know Miggy had played some this season as a right back, so I almost wonder. Would it have made more sense to flip Miggy to right back and put Tyson Pierce on the left? But I don't know. I guess that this is a point where, for as much as I second guess it, I almost have to trust Hackworth to know his guys. I mean, he's been with them, what, 18, 20 games now. So, or more, you have to trust it, but still it's a head scratcher and it's an unfortunate time to have to make a lineup change.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
and that's
trust it, but at the same time, you see a bad result because, I mean, you're trusting your coach saying like, okay, he knows what he does or what he's doing, but at the same time in the field, you didn't see that you didn't see that the same effect um, that you would expect. And I mean, if I'm not an expertise on
Mm-hmm.
CITY2, but I believe like you had another players or a couple more players that they could have played left or right back. So just play them on the natural position, even if they're not as strong as you would think Orozco will be, or even like Miggy will be. Like, but playing them in a natural position, we have talked about it the entire season with with the main squad that stop playing players out of position, play them on the strong side. And you just took one of your biggest players this season, the one that created a lot of opportunities and a lot of movement up front, to just have him on a right back position or a left back position.
yeah, and pretty much it took the whole CDM and cam position, right? Because That's why Antwit was more of the CDM where he sat, and he's maybe not the most creative player on the midfield, but his job is take the ball, create chances. Where Miggy was more to create those chances, be like Oscar said, have the midfield more fluid. So I think it looks like maybe that was that maestro that was missing in the midfield for it, and it looks like also the defense will probably a little bit of sleep. It looks like because especially that second goal, that was like a miscommunication. It looks like
Hmm.
because I think he had pretty much a free header, and then after that, everybody was stunned and was just looking at each other like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too to see that at home, right? Like it's one of those things where if it's an away game, you kind of are like, well, we had a great season. It's tough to play on the road throughout the league and next pro and those things, but I feel like that's even the bigger gut punch here is you have home field throughout the playoffs. The path to next pro cup was going to go through Energizer Park if you played up to your level that you're used to. But lowest seed, it's the playoffs, and St. Louis City 2 is done. It's sad, but it happens, right?
Yep, and you pick your own executor too, so that you and it's the second one. And I think we also saw that the Town FC also, who was a top seed, got beat by Colorado too.
They did.
So
Yeah, yeah.
so it shows like pretty much it shows that the teams that maybe that's a little bit too comfortable with how they went throughout the entire season, and then now you have those that have least to show or stood up, and now they're in the finals for each of their respective conferences. But also, one thing that keeps coming back to me is that Minnesota is like City's boogeyman because
Is
the first team now and the second team
Yeah.
playing ruin things for us for our happiness.
Yeah, they
One
were the
was the
last
U.S.
team.
Open Cup, now is the
Yeah.
MLS Next Pro. So it's like,
Yeah. They chased Olaf out of the first team, and now it's out of the
I
playoff
don't
for City 2.
I don't know. Like when they picked that, I think like they were on that high horse of thinking we are going to change this about Minnesota because it had to cross their mind. Like they
Mhm.
have played Minnesota what 5, 6 times this year already, including City 2 because I think we faced them 4 times with the main team.
Mm. This was the third time City 2 had played them.
So it's
Or
just
no, fourth time. You're right. We'd beaten them, I think, three times this season.
so
I
I
think.
don't know if I don't know if it was that or just like the confidence like hey we have to beat whoever we put in front. That's a good mentality, but I think it play against them a little bit having all that extra things of like hey we play at home we have our people we have all because even
Too
with
much
the rain
success.
there was a good show up and there was a good environment there
Hmm.
was atmosphere was good and pumping
Yeah.
um so I think they got too much into their head and they were not able to come back from getting scored that early and with that type of goal that
Hmm.
obviously it was just a mistake letting them go behind them and obviously Olivares has to reevaluate his positioning on that play because he was definitely not near where he needs to be
Yeah,
um
definitely.
unfortunately and I mean the second goal is just a killer. I think they were just all defeated because they have
Hmm.
tried and tried and tried and nothing was really uh f-
Yeah.
flowing. It just
Yeah.
even like the play that McSorley almost like make it back hill, and if
Hmm.
that goes through that leg of defender, it's a goal. But and it was a good source to do it, and I think if that one goes through that leg, it changes the mentality of everybody, and I think like that will
Hmm.
change completely the game because the frustration goes away. It's a brand new game, things like that. But that block itself, I think it just defeated everybody. Since
It
that
did.
moment, I was so like a lot of like going down from there.
I think there's one thing though that deflated the team a little bit more than probably that back heel was the handball. That was not called. Did you guys saw the
That,
handball
I saw it. I saw a video from the bleach,
from David?
from the stands
Yeah,
that someone posted, and like that one seems,
because it
yeah,
because it
but
literally
I
yeah.
settled. Because he, I think if it was like if it would have touched his hand and like bounced on the ground and someone else would have cleared it,
Hmm.
I probably would have said it was unintentional because with your hands up. But when the ball perfectly falls to your feet for you to then clear it, it
yeah,
is more of a advantage to you versus, oh, I just the ball touched my hand and I did not see it, but someone else saw it, and then it was
yeah,
not
and
even a review or anything like that.
Well,
unfortunately, like I feel that play because the player tried to settle the ball and kind of like bounce up,
Right.
the ball bounce up on the settle, so I feel like the judgment of the referee was like that was just like a rebound, like it was not an intentional move to handball it, just like a quick rebound from a touch on your body, and I think that's why they didn't call it if he saw it. Like let's play it as if he saw the hand, he probably thought that. I don't agree with it because he's still what you're saying, Mo. Like he definitely with that touch
It
gave
settled right
himself another
perfectly.
settle down
Yes.
mhm.
so he can clear it. So
Yeah, but
it definitely took
handballs
advantage
though.
of that.
But handballs. We've seen plenty of calls where the player would not even look at the ball. They had their head turned or something, and the ball hit their hand and m- redirected somewhere else,
Yeah.
and then they called it a handball.
So
So it's like,
so let me ask you both a question then, because I don't want to get into the
uh-oh.
I don't want to blame the official, but I'm going to ask this question: should they like? I know they don't have VAR during the regular season. Should they have VAR in the playoffs for next pro? Because they don't.
Yes.
I mean, is that a conversation worth having? Because I don't. That ref was look. I'm gonna be honest. I thought the ref was terrible. They didn't. The ref did not call anything, and when they started blowing the whistle, half the time it didn't make sense because you didn't blow the first foul. You blew the third foul, and it made no sense. There were at least 3 times guys were standing right on top of each other, even multiple times on the end line, and
Yeah.
nothing was being blown. I'm like, what are we even doing? So the handballs aside, the ref was a mess. But should they have VAR for the next pro playoffs?
Do they have it during the season?
No, they do not have
Which is
VAR at all.
weird not having it. Is it because of budget reason? Because it's not
It
as.
probably is because it's not affordable for.
But yeah, but it
I
could.
would ask this question: has any other leagues in the world that they're Division Two or Three have VAR?
Let
I
me do a
think it will
quick
probably
search.
Like how
depends.
many? How many? Because Division Twos, it might be around
Mhm.
there, but I don't think a Division Three
So,
league
Yeah, but
will
so it's
have VAR anywhere in the world.
yeah,
And
it's
if we call MLS two, it's MLS Next Pro or whatever. Um, um, it's a tier three. So I think it's very
yeah.
difficult that the competition
Mhm.
like this will provide that, and especially
but
like
it
if
but it's
MLS
MLS though.
provides
It
VAR that doesn't draw the lines either.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
that's still MLS, which is
Hmm.
in the US scheme of things, it is still their league, even
Hmm.
though we say it's the third league, third level. I would think that it's still a MLS promotion, and
Yeah.
they have crazy rules in MLS Next Pro, which that's why I was surprised they don't have VR because I think most of the things they implement in the MLS, it starts with MLS Pro, Next Pro.
Hmm.
So that's why it was kind of weird where, because they kind of, that just means that if a back call does not happen, then
Hmm.
you SOL because there's no
Yeah.
VAR. It's like,
And
Yeah, no, I mean I 100% get it. Like it, and we going through an evolution of soccer where every league should have it. Like
yeah,
if you're call yourself a professional league, you should have those tools. You should have that and but we go to the same point of like you're saying, well, it's MLS, but yeah, MLS doesn't have um
Goal line technology.
like goal line
Well,
technology.
they
It
don't even
doesn't
have automated
have
offsides yet.
that doesn't have
Nope.
semi-automatic offside, or it doesn't even draw lines. So this is like for me, not drawing lines in the
Hmm.
top tier of your country is ridiculous. And just basing yourself on if it's a
Yeah.
clear and obvious error, but you don't have lines to check it, like that's nonsense. Like the technology is already
Hmm.
there. You have millions of dollars because we all know that Apple can provide that. So why you're not utilizing all these
MLS
things
could
that they're
provide that.
already in there?
Right.
Like why
Well.
like it doesn't make sense in that end. So like if you go to MLX next pro, then let's say at least utilize VAR and VR and say
Hmm.
at least we're gonna review the main place, like the main
Yeah.
critic place. Because yes, if you go to the VAR, most likely that handball is a handball,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
if
will
it's a
have to
review,
call
yeah.
it.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
If you
and
review it and you still deny that, then you're a moron.
yeah. So just for comparison purposes, talking about, I just googled England championship. The championship second tier in England does not use VAR outside of the playoff final. So
So, so
the
the
championship
championship.
game gets it, but
Well, you're
not
talking
the,
about the championship or the
yeah,
second tier in England.
the championship.
Mm.
And then I guess
So
So
well
yeah,
the question,
there's the answer. Like nobody uses it in
yeah,
yeah, but isn't it their final in like Wimbledon or something like that where the
Wembley
Wembley.
probably.
Wembley, so it's pretty much you have it's all built in, right?
Well, and that's got to be the reason part also a next pro, because you got to realize, I mean, are we the only next
They
pro
play in
team
a
that
high
actually
school.
plays in a first team stadium? Yeah, everybody else plays in
Probably
like high
one of the
school
few,
fields.
or probably the
Yeah,
So
only.
because the other ones play in high
Yeah.
school fields.
so but no, guys, any other takeaways for City too? I'm not sure who's going to be their manager next year. Hackworth obviously won't be it, I don't think. He'll either return to the technical director role or take the sporting director role, or maybe be a valet in the parking lot. Who knows what he'll be doing next season? But it's interesting. It'll be interesting time to see what happens with City 2 in this roster.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see some of the senior guys to see what their options are. I'm sure maybe there will be a few more going to USL, and most of the kids that we know that are college age, they most likely will be going to college, and the senior ones maybe USL. So I think it's just interesting to see the next evolution of those players, and especially the younger ones that have had a few times to play with the
Yeah.
first team CD2 and the academy kids, because that
Yeah.
we've seen quite a few promising players. So I think the next evolution is seeing some of these Micah and move up to the first team and see who steps up to the CD2 and show what they're capable of. Because clearly we know the guys that maybe are way too good for next pro, but still maybe not ready for MLS. But I think next year will be the
Hmm.
major decision on where those guys has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I my understanding it's there's gonna be a big turnout of after this season, and especially when you do a good season in minor leagues in second tiers, third tiers, you call the attention of bigger leagues and say like, hey, this these people are doing good, and especially when they're young, they're gonna be popular in the market to find a better place. So I'm assuming there's gonna be a lot of them that they're leaving, especially the key players that they were performing well. I'm sure they're not gonna be back for City 2. And then the ones that they're moving to the main team, I am a little concerned on the ways that I know you can't really judge them for just one game, but it was the most important game so far this year, and did not perform. And they're the two main ones that I'm just not gonna say the names, just the names, just to not say them. But they're the two main, and they did not perform. They were one was more absent than the other one, because I'd
Mhm.
even like joke around like, "Oh, did he play today?" Because I haven't seen him. But it's just concerning because if you think that they're gonna make a big difference next year in the main team, but you cannot even perform in a semifinal of the third tier, then where is that? Where is that? Where that leaves you? So they obviously have to work on their mentality and see what they can do for next year.
Well, so I'll counter that with saying that there was one performance that I actually really liked, and that was Caden Glover. Or Glover, I think it's Glover.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna. I mean, I thought he was to me he was our standout player when he from the time he came on to really the final whistle. I thought he was honestly the most impactful player, the guy who changed the game and started to really get our offense. In my mind, it felt like it added a little bit of fluidity, and we could actually move the ball and possess it in the final third a lot. So I thought Caden, which is just nice to see because he's a guy that I think after signing the homegrown deal, we didn't see him much at all. I think we saw him for the Aston Villa friendly, and that was really about it for the first team that I can recall. So I don't know. It was just nice to see him have a moment where he actually looked what I think a lot of fans are hoping to see him turn into in the next year or so.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I do agree with that.
Oh, he had some grit. I saw even that yellow card that he got shows you that he had that St. Louis spirit. We'll call it
Yeah.
that.
So
So go ahead, Oscar.
with that, I think like just to end probably this, but what you're saying with Glover, like I think because you added a player that you were missing in your setup because you didn't have Miggy. Miggy would have
Mm-hmm.
done that the entire game, but because you didn't have it, now when you have to counter on that, well, obviously you brought fresh legs, and Glover did perfectly. He got in the place when he needed to be, and he was fluid. He was smooth with his move, even like when fancy moves were needed. They were a resource, not a fancy move. It was just more used as a resource, and he was close to actually connecting passes that could lead to something. So yeah, it just maybe he needed more minutes, or he just has been hurt or something. Because I know like this year he was not too much participant,
Mm-hmm.
neither on the first team or the second team. So
He got superseded by it seemed like Emil Jääskeläinen kind of took his role as the nine or just as the attacker. So hopefully next year is another year for development for Caden. I don't think he's ready for first team minutes. I don't think he's going to be a bench player. That to me, I think just I know we need to wrap and move on to the next thing, but I think that's my biggest concern with City 2 right now. It's outside of maybe Joyner and McSorley. I don't see a lot of guys that are ready to take that jump for significant roles. Maybe you have some bench players. I think I saw someone in the chat mentioned Antwi next year. Miggy, maybe. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, those are guys that you could ideally say, well, Miggy's already on a first team deal as a homegrown. He was in slot 31 this year as an offseason player. So, but also Tyson Pierce. Is Tyson Pierce ready? I don't know. I think that's my only concern with City 2 right now is I don't see a lot of clear cut first team development yet outside of
Yeah,
Joyner and McSorley.
yeah. And I think that's what one of the things that we have to kind of be careful when we're expecting maybe a little too much from City to produce the next it thing for City. Um, because if you watch some of the other teams, their two teams,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these are some of their senior guys that maybe got outplayed or trying to find fitness to go in with their first team. And I think they say Cincinnati have players that are like what 3 4 million dollar players
Mm-hmm.
that they invested all of that money but put them in the two to develop them to hopefully be for their first starters versus where what we're looking at CD2 here is that some of the MLS drafted players and academy kids. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes that's where we maybe that line blurs between the two. But I think the path of development is looking good, and they've sent a lot of players to college. A lot.
Yeah. No, you're right. But with that said, guys, if you guys are ready, we can move over and kind of start talking about the first team a little bit, if that's all right with you guys. I know it's been a hot minute since we've talked first team, so we did play a game. We played to a. We probably won't spend a lot of time talking about it because I think anybody that wanted to know about it by now knows. But City did end the season with a 2-2 draw on October 18th against RSL. Put up a
We
fight,
didn't lose.
dominated. What we didn't lose. That's what I was saying. Leaving the park is we didn't lose. We dominated the game in statistics: 3.97 xG to 9.2, 28 shots to 8, seven on target to 3. Had a penalty. And well, two I guess technically more Hartles got saved, but the keeper was off the line. So I don't know, guys. Any big things jump out at you from that 2-2 draw that ended the season for the first team?
I hate starter step PKs. Um, two, I was hoping to see maybe a little bit more like this is our last game of the season. Um, like urgency and just to show that this is the last game. We know it. This is the last game. This is probably the last time for a few of the players. I was hoping maybe a little bit more firework.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
no,
just me.
no. I was expecting them. I think it was one for me where I wanted to kind of your point. I just wanted them to empty the tank. That's the game you want. You want passion. You want to see them, as cliche as is going to sound, that's the game you want them to bleed for the badge. Like for some of them, it could be their last appearance for City. For others, they may still be playing for opportunities next season. I would have just liked to seen that, and I think at times it seemed like they went out and did more. I think the biggest issue for me was just the center back pairing didn't work. It was the first time I think Fall and Hebert have featured together. That was the downfall. Both goals came as the defense as Salt Lake played through them through Olatunji. So, um, yeah, it was just that was the worst of it. Is that I think Fall, and we'll get to some stats on Fall later that'll tell you why I think he's going to be continue to be a player to watch. But, um, yeah, I just I would have liked to see more. What about you, Oscar? Any takeaways from your season ending game there against RSL?
I mean, I'm gonna compliment what Melo is saying on the chat. I don't think these players were connected to end the season with emptying the tank. Um, we all said that they were all fighting for contracts and that they should be playing hard. But I mean, we all know that that was not gonna be a motivation for them. Like their season was done 3 months ago. They were just happy to be done and go with their families and go on vacations. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not bad that they're enjoying their vacations now because I saw
Mhm.
three different players already in a football game in LA and a basketball game in LA, and that's fine. They have families and they get to enjoy those things when they're off. But when you're on and you're supposed to be performing and respecting the crest, and you're not, then something's wrong. So like I definitely am with Melo here that the passion and the respect for the team is still not there from some of the players, not all of them. Also, I don't even remember who started, who didn't start it, but I think I said it multiple times when Morales wasn't in the field was a different team that when he's not in the field, a little more productive, more fluent on the games. So it just still with the little turnaround that we did, or like if we call it turnaround, I don't want to say turnaround. I know you guys said it earlier in the chat, and that's why I'm saying it. It's more of like the little fixing that it was made. Um, it was still not enough, and also it was like not consistent in the way that they were picking the team. Like
Mhm.
we will perform well, and then we'll pick a completely different team the next day, and then we perform bad, and then we stick with it. So it's just I don't understand. So like for me in that end, I affects a lot of like the qualification for Critchley. He did a lot of good things. He provided more exciting soccer. He provided more goals, more offensive play, more of that. But at the same time, there was no consistency. There was not
Mhm.
proof of building a solid team, something that it would stay, give us at least a hope. Because at the end, you guys remember when was the last time we saw him winning at City Park?
When what? I'm sorry.
When was the last time we saw him win at City Park or
Uh,
Energize Park, whatever?
I have a
oh,
bad
oh no, you're
memory.
fine. You're talking about the last time you saw Critchley win at City Park.
Well, when we saw
Uh,
City main team, I know the game. I can tell you, but I wanted
well,
to see if you guys remembered.
hold on. Let me think about
I
that.
have bad memories.
Nashville. They haven't. Right? Is it Nashville?
Correct.
Because yeah.
Last game we won at City Park was Nashville. We played Houston, we played Dallas, we played LAFC, and we played RSL. I believe those are the
Yep.
games that we play after.
You're right.
And we lost two, we tied two. That for me is not a good taste of like living the season in your last four at home. You couldn't even win.
I mean, that's true, but if you take the home part out of it, you took points in what,
Oh,
four
I
of the
don't care
last
about the
six or
away games.
five? Well, no, but no, hold on. That's got to be part of the
Uh-oh.
conversation, Oscar,
Yeah.
because if
No,
you want it, no, you have to, because away,
no,
away,
it's not
you
my
don't only
point.
get points for winning at home. Away
No,
games
but
are
this
just
is
as
not my
important.
point. No, this is not my point about the
Okay,
points.
okay, okay. What's
My,
your
my,
point?
my point is when we last saw him, when we last were out there cheering for
Yeah,
them and win. That's
okay.
my point.
Oh,
I'm not
gotcha. Okay.
saying I'm not saying what affected on the standings. No. Yes,
Okay.
I get it. We won 3 games away.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Sorry. No,
But
that's fine.
but for me it doesn't feel anything. I haven't seen my team win a game in 3 months or 2 months. Like seeing them.
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
celebrating with me saying we won a game.
Right. No,
No
and
way.
I mean that
Like
it did feel good when City 2 won. I'll say that. That was nice.
right.
That was the last win we saw at Energizer Park this year.
And we were like, hey, this is what it feels to win at home. Wow. It's
Well,
been like
it
two and
was
a half
me.
months.
Maybe it was our fault. We didn't show up on Sunday,
Well,
and then look at the
nah,
None of
result.
us three show up.
no, we weren't there.
That says
Um,
something.
Embarrassing, guys.
it does.
I'm
No.
I'm I'm
Wow.
um, no, I mean the thing is like it's crazy to think about that game though, because I mean we had 21 shots inside the box against RSL. Couldn't find that third goal. It's just hard to believe you can have that good of a performance and not get it. I mean, that's the thing is if you look at Critchley though, and I don't know if this is a great segue or not into that conversation because we've got a whole off season to figure out right now. But I mean, you took points in what, one, two, three. You took points in 5 of the last 6 games, and 6 of the last 10, I think, something like that. So I think that's when we've talked in kind of our DMs a little bit. It's that last 10 games is sort of why you think about that turnaround. I mean, we did lose 3 in a row between the Nashville game and the draw against Dallas, um, including the questionable one in Vancouver with that late phantom penalty on Joyner. But no, I don't know. There's a case to be made for many, I think, about Critchley being the guy to lead this team next season.
yeah, it was 2 months, like 2 months playing, and you don't win at home. Like
No. Well, we haven't been
because it
great at
was
home anyway.
August 9th. It was August 9th.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, we
then the
were
last game at home was October 18th. So it was month and a week.
You're
2 months
right.
in a week.
But I mean, overall, though, I mean, I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like that's an even bigger issue because, I mean, City's home form this year was just overall wasn't great. In the Western Conference, if you look at home records, City was second worst in terms of wins. We only had one more win than Galaxy and one more win than Sporting KC. We took
Yeah.
30 we I mean, yeah, we woof, great. But no, we spent we no, hold on, I'm sorry. I actually
Uh-oh.
time out. I was looking at overall standings. I lied.
Ooh,
We
here comes
had
trouble.
we were even on home wins at 4 with SKC. So we were tied for last with 4 wins at home, but it was 18 points taken at home. We took 14 points away. So we were second worst in terms of wins at home, and we were third. What is that? What 15, 14, 13, like 12th on the road in points. So we weren't great either way. But that goes beyond Critch ball, I think.
You're on mute, Oscar. Sounds like
Hang on.
Oh yeah, he's gonna tell me I'm wrong.
maybe I should
Um,
go back and put him on
hey,
mute and then say you're right, Jeremy.
no, it definitely he did better. It was hard to not do better than Olive. Let's say that.
That's
But
true.
but
That's
he
true.
did he did better, and he created, like I said, he did good stuff, more offensive play. It just was not consistent. It was not, and it was not solid defensive either because we did lack of closing games sometimes, or like we gave up really easy things to easy plays to that we got score on. But
Yeah.
I don't think he's the one to take the command for next year. I mean, he did
Mm-hmm.
good, but I think he still need more experience or more time in a lower level
Mm-hmm.
coaching. But
So can I
I
be
mean,
the
I'm
devil
I'm
advocate then?
obviously nobody to say if he is or not. But
Yeah. I mean,
if he's our gaffer, like people say, and then let's go for it and hope for the best that he has a good locker room control, that they're all buying on
mm-hmm.
his idea of what we're gonna play.
Oh, sorry,
Oh,
Mo. I clicked the button, but no, yeah. So we were
yes, you did.
we had shown we're showing some final stats there for Critchley.
Yep.
But the reason I clicked the button, Mo, is I'm going to pull up. I have one other breakdown from Critch, where we look at based on the where the opponents were in terms of the standings as we're talking about. So he took 21 points, a 6-3 and 10 record. So this is how Critchley's squads fared against teams. So you can see he went winless against opponents who were in the top 5 of either conference, and this was at the end of the season. So this takes into account through the end of match week 34. He had 3 wins against teams that were those bottom 3 playoff spots and 3 wins against non-playoff teams. You can see kind of where we got the, my thing that I struggled with was, you really need to capitalize on the non-playoff teams, taking what is that? Points in 4 of 6. I could kind of live with that. I'd like to see a little bit better from him there. You put up a fight, but had too many losses against those fringe playoffs teams, because that would include like the Dallases, and those teams that we should have probably beaten, and that's why the shots for in that category are so heavily skewed from that Dallas game. But yeah, you can kind of see the other thing too is you talk about playing down to your opponents a little bit. We gave up the most expected goals in terms of like positive negative differential. We were minus goals, expected goals, in those non-playoff matchups. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to take away from that. What jumps out at you guys? But I think that is an interesting look at where Critchley performed or didn't perform. Anybody? Is this thing
Oh,
on? Pick one,
I
two.
Well,
think
you're
I
moved
might
now.
be. Yeah.
We muted the right guy. Good job,
Uh,
guys. Oh, I'm
Ryan
sorry.
did it. Ryan did it because he said someone needed to be muted, and I guess that was me. But I think try to be a little devil advocate, and I think one of it is I think Oscar also brought that up before, where we're looking at all of the stats,
Hmm.
right, of what he's done. So it looks like for the top five teams that we probably expected us to lose, it happened. It looks like he was able to beat some of the teams that we were supposed to beat to a point. But the biggest thing that I saw slash on the field, off the field,
Hmm.
is just the players. The player attitude, the players, the way they talk about him, the way I think it's starting to you feel where we were getting back to some of this the part where the players and the chemistry of the players was starting to show a lot more. Um, you even saw when they were goals and stuff that they were actually going to the bench and celebrate. You could see some of the bench players go and celebrate. Um, when we sat close to when they were doing warm ups, you could see them. When there was corner kicks on the side to where they were warming up, you kind of see them. That interaction that was a lot better than what we saw previously with Olaf. And one thing that I saw as well is how we were all celebrating how Klaus was doing so much by going all the way to forwards and all the way to defense. He was doing that a lot because of last lack of trust, right? Because it's like if you guys are not able to do what I need, I'm going to do it myself. And
Hmm.
that's when he was doing a lot of the overworking. But as you see where the time starting to progress and the more games, you could see him do a lot less of the defensive work. So I think like the team spirit and
Hmm.
the environment kind of improved so much that Hartel was then able to be so clutch. And then you can tell when he says Gritchy's kind of added a lot more of the confidence for him to be able to play the way he wants to, and that duplicated by goals and assists and a little bit more playful
An
Hartel.
effort, an effort, because I mean, I think Jeremy posted on the socials that he was one of like the top that run the most in the
Yeah,
MLS
coverage. Yeah,
as a midfielder, things like that. So his effort, but and what you're saying, like all these players just start enjoying again
at least the
soccer.
main players. I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's like the
They
main
because
players,
they were
but
not expected to do all this robotic
right.
playing where just like you have to follow these tactics and just go back and forth and worry about not conceding a goal. Just it was all so forced that obviously the creative minded players were not enjoying this. Uh, and
Hmm.
then when the switch was done, and that's why I would say they're saying that about Critchley is because he gave him the freedom again. Like they kind of like, hey, take this, take the good things that you love about soccer and playing soccer and use them. I'll let you do that. I'll let you express yourself in the field because, I mean, I'll give them that. Good coaches do that. They let the good players express themselves. They don't coach them. They say like, go on, do it. Nobody's telling it. For example, nobody's telling Lami Yamal to do anything. He just said like, you go stand over there
Hmm.
and do whatever you want.
Yeah, see, yeah. So I think that's
Even
it's
like run
one.
his mouth too much, but it's okay.
We'll talk about that classical, but I think that's one of those things where I think I'm starting to think maybe if they're he's provided a little bit more time to for that because a lot of the coaches that come in as interim is they're not trying to fix the locker room and then fix the tactic and then fix the field. It looks like he had part of his job even before he could implement his system. He had to fix the broken players, I guess we'll say, or their down spirited players. So it looks like that was almost like an extra thing that you have to worry about than just, we're changing philosophy, we're changing tactics. Now you first have to play the cheerleader and play the mental part of the game that some coaches don't have to deal with.
Just a side note: Minnesota and Seattle are doing PKs right now,
Oh wow.
Oh,
and
I wonder if by home is playing.
St. Clair just devour this guy mentally. You just say mentally, and I was like, oh, he just ate him completely, destroyed him.
Oh man.
Oh, I have to watch. I have
Just
to see if my
just
buddy's playing.
mental games.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
Okay,
right.
so
So
do we move on to other parts of the conversation? All the ones
no,
that
so
they're
yeah, I mean,
naming in the
well, yeah,
chat.
we can move on. Yeah, I mean, we can move on to a few different things, I guess, guys. So before the game, obviously there was the Roman Berkey announcement. Berkey has assigned a new contract through 27 rather, with an option for 2028. Later came out in the evening that Tom Bogert reported that Roman Berkey will be a designated player. This kind of turned into a hot topic discussion. Any thoughts from you guys on Berkey coming back and on him taking a DP slot again?
Oscar, you go first.
I think it's fine. I know a lot of people disagree with it, but I think it's fine. He's the biggest thing we have in St. Louis City right now, and he was the face of our franchise since day one.
Mhm.
I don't think he has whatsoever play bad. I don't think he has declined his level. I think this year, because of how hard the season was, that his numbers are not great and amazing how first year was. But I think he's the same goalkeeper that saves the incredible saves, and sometimes he gets the easy goals in. Like it happened in year one, and it will continue to happen. And one of the things, like for example, Melo will laugh about it. It's like he just commenting about PK savings. Yeah, Berkey will
Yeah.
not save a PK to save his own life. He will not do it. It's just not part of him. But I think it's fine if not just because of the type of player he is and what he brings to the sport side. It's because the type of person that he is in the locker room. I'm sure he is a mentor for many players in there, and he's kind of like the head. And one thing that I like when he signed and he said after the game was like everything was based on the project. So I would like to believe his words and trust him that he knows that there's actually a good project coming and something that we want to develop for the good of the club, and not because he wanted to sign and be DP and have a lot of money and that's why he stayed. I want to think that he actually thinks he appreciates the club and wants them to be successful.
Thoughts from you, Mo?
I think people are just overreacting. Pretty much everything that Oscar said. I understand that people wanted to see a DP player added, um, but if you think about it, it's that a lot has to ride as well for like the whole marketing and leadership. He's a captain, right? So pretty much these past 3 years, he even though a lot of the stats might not say it, he kind of exceeded a lot of the expectations. Um, he turned one thing that could have been that was a good season, which could have been bad if we had a decent goalkeeper,
Mhm.
because maybe some of the save he's done. The other part is all of the goals that we'll say he allowed, just like we discussed a lot throughout the season, right? If the goalkeeper has to worry about 100 shots a game, there will be some that has to drop in the
Yeah.
net versus a player that, if he has to make those crazy saves and he has to only make 3 or 4 of them a game, then there's a clean sheet right there.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's just that part, and he's the face of St. Louis in all the MLS promos. It's him first, and I think
Mhm.
Hartel was in the last one I saw. But anything that has to do with MLS picture is Berkey.
And yeah,
Yeah, he's
he's
in the Audi commercial right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's the biggest name you've got. He's got worldwide, claim to fame from his days at Dortmund. But I wanted to throw this up real quick. So this is just his stats card, a real high level look at his stats, where he ranked among MLS goalkeepers who'd played a minimum of 1,000 minutes. So Berkey was 10th in minutes, 12th in saves. He faced the 14th most shots, had the ninth best save percentage. In terms of like post shot expected goals, the quality of shots he faced, they were the 11th toughest quality of shots against. Um, the post shot expected goals plus minus, it's how many more goals did you save than you should have. So on the season, he saved almost 2 goals, so he should have allowed 2 more goals than he ultimately did. Um, and then a couple other things: four clean sheets on the season, which was 10th highest in the league or tied for 10th. And then the defensive actions outside of the penalty area had 29, so that's how many times he had to come out and really play that kind of a sweeper keeper. So just a real quick high level look at some of his stats, advanced statistics. I know I'm the numbers guy, so I had to throw that up there. Here's what I'll say about Roman. I'm going to be in the opposite camp of you guys, and I'm going to take that down, Mo, and just throw it back up to us if you want, if you can. But is I'm again, I'm in the minority in the conversation here. I wanted him back, but not as a designated player. I will say, what I can say is that a source close to the negotiations was able to kind of shed some light recently in a conversation with me that kind of spoke to what you and Oscar both said, Mo, explaining that during the negotiation. With Berkey, there was a change in agencies, and part of the way to get him back was that he wanted to be promised he would be a designated player. And I don't know. What I don't know is how much of that is performance based, because he was the 2023 MLS goalkeeper of the year. You have to also, I hate to say, you have to pay the man for some of the suffering that he's had to go through with this team defensively over the last year and a half. But I do think part of it is you can't put a price on leadership. And obviously, the franchise has a tremendous, as you guys both said, there's a tremendous amount of value in him being marketable for the team as well. What I would hope, and we don't know the specifics of his deal. So what I'm hoping is my best case scenario is we repeat what we just went through. He's a DP for a season, then we buy him down to a max TAM player after 2026, so that 27 and 28 he would no longer be a DP. That is my hope. If his raise is really up to $1 million, that was a figure floated around social media. It has not been verified by any sources through me or the club that I'm aware of. If it's really that much, I would question why. Because again, he's played fine, but at 35, there's an argument to be made that regression will happen, and I'm concerned about that. But you can't let him go.
and also we forgot to mention, and I think we did it in our chat.
Mm-hmm.
Mentorship for the future goalkeepers
Mm-hmm.
for City. Oliver's is showing that he's a promising talent. We know there's 3 or 4 goalkeepers in the academy that are showing in the CITY2. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's always everybody do talk about the performance on the field,
Mm-hmm.
and they throw you all of the stats, but we all know, those of us that have been in locker rooms, that some of these players, they can't during the discussions. It's not just that, here's your numbers, this is what you did, how many games you've played, you stopped, how much in how many goalkeepers in MLS can say that they have a arguably one of the best goalkeeper for Dortmund and in the German league and from Switzerland? Like, how many goalkeepers can say that's who you've learned your craft from? Except
Melo,
Loris, I
yeah.
guess,
Well,
because
and
he World Cup champion. But
well, yeah. Well, so I do want to go Melo. You're right. There's like I think one other keeper in the MLS that makes $1 million or more. Berkey was already the highest paid keeper in MLS. He's was the third or second highest paid player for City. So, to your point, I hope this was your point, Melo. I don't think you have to invest $1 million in a keeper. I might be way wrong, but that's just me. I think there are cheaper options out there that honestly, I don't know. I guess
did you just hear? You said you have cheaper options.
you do. And if Dane St. Clair, who's probably going to be keeper of the year in MLS, and he'll probably get a raise, he's going to get paid.
Yeah, but Dave St. Clair
And
is
then he's
also
probably
the.
gonna move. He's gonna probably move to another league because the way that he's performing, he's gonna move to another league, get paid better. So it
But
just
Dave St. Clair
you
is
can't
also the goalkeeper for Canada.
correct. So
He
like
is.
it. What is driving me crazy on this conversation is like everybody wants a cheaper goalie just because you don't want to spend that much money.
Yeah.
But you don't you're not really evaluating the quality that you're saying. You're really saying that Berkey was not good this year. There's many comments even in our chat right now. They said like he was not top goalkeepers. How he's gonna be a DP? It's like how you expect your goalkeeper to be a top on stands or stats when you have a terrible team that you were third to last in your conference. How do you expect them to be that good? How you expect that those numbers are gonna be so big? Normally, the goalkeepers that get the tops are in playoffs because they are good teams that they're protecting them and they do make them do some saves, but at the same time, they don't leave him unprotected 75 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
it's
it's
ridiculous to
quantity.
evaluate that it just because he didn't make on the top stats that now he doesn't deserve a DP spot. He is
It's
a
So
good player.
yeah.
He is
he
Quantity
is.
he,
matters.
he
So
is the he in my opinion still he's the best goalkeeper in the league. It just he doesn't have the backup with the defense.
so I'm gonna run through just for sake of conversation. So this is from the last time salary numbers were released by the Players Association. At the time, Roman Berkey was the highest paid keeper at 1.7 million. Pedro Galese from Orlando is the second highest at 1.2. Andre Blake from Philly at 1.18. Sean Johnson from Toronto at just over a million. Zach Steffen from Colorado at a million. Patrick Schulte has 957,000. Yohei Takaoka from Vancouver is just under 875,000. One of the keepers that was really, really good last year, Christian Kalina from Charlotte, is makes less than 800K. Hugo Lloris, whose name I saw in the chat, he's a little bit further down the list. He's at $700,000. So, um,
So you
So
see the
and hold
names. You see the names if you've mentioned.
mhm.
None of them. Yes, maybe they've been around. St. Clair should have been making over a million a long time ago. But if you put those names next on the list, right, and then you
Mhm.
put Berkey on that list, and anyone that's have not watched the MLS, and you say, "Here's the list here," and tell me who's making the most money and who do you know on that list? Who do you think they're going to say?
Berkey's got the most. It's Berkey and I mean
I would say
Lloris.
Burke and Lloris will be the two
I
highest.
Yeah,
mean, and then maybe Team USA people might say Zach Steffen because
yeah, but he can. Yeah, but
but he doesn't
But
hold a candle to those two.
yeah,
but Steven is not even anything comparing to
No,
these two. Like
yeah,
no,
it's
no, no,
it's
no. I know.
yeah,
I'm just
he's a
saying
good goalkeeper,
recognizable
but
names from a soccer standpoint
yeah,
for me. If
right,
I'm
right.
talking
yeah,
just from his Team USA
yeah.
time.
So if you think about it, though, right, the discussions that go and says, well, look at all of these guys that you just listed.
Yeah,
Look at the highest one that's right after him. He's
yeah.
like, how
Orlando.
much has he done compared to than I have? And look at his back four, back three. Can you compare that whatsoever? And then they'll be like, well, you are also the face. That's what happens in world soccer when you're hot or you're the biggest name. You will make more money. If you watch my dear Chelsea, right? Sterling is making $425,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Palmer is in the 200. Why? Because they signed a bigger contract because of the time they were in. That money talk is just depends on when you hit while it was hot. And he's the face of the club. He's everything else. So if Sinclair's at 600K, he has a pretty good
Yeah.
defense as well.
So
He has the team to support him, but Berkey's is the face even when our team sucks. He's
Mm-hmm.
still on the Audi commercials of MLS. That in the discussion when you put that in front of execs, that means that has a dollar value.
So, what
so
I would
I
say,
have a
go ahead.
couple things in it. So and one that it kind of like shocks me, but
Uh,
it's why we don't do what LAFC and Miami does, because Berkey could have easily be one of those deals where you pay him a salary, right? That is not a DP salary, like the way that they're doing with Lloris, and do an under the table deal where branding and merchandising goes towards his salary, because that's what they do. If you sell certain amount of shirts, he's gonna get certain amount of kickback from it. Even like if you have to say like every single shirt that we sell from St. Louis City, Berkey's salary is gonna go to like a little bit is gonna be going towards
Mm-hmm.
Berkey's salary, right? Because they do that with Lloris. Obviously, they're doing it with Messi. They're doing it with Suarez. They're doing it with all those key players, and they're not affecting that much their salary cap because, like you said, so Lloris, for example, is making 700,000. But you really think he's making 700,000 a year when last salary he had at Tottenham was 5.2 million? You telling me that
Well,
he took you telling me that he took $4 million cut to come to LA?
oh,
no,
he's no
So
but
dummy.
where is that $4 million? Where's that $4 million coming from? From shirts, from sponsorship, for extra things that they're saying. We'll give you these
mhm,
as an image contract, but you still play and you stay on our. So that I will be a question that might hurt my case on Diego's side that we're gonna touch later,
mhm,
Oh boy.
because it could have been done here. Legitly, it could have been done where give him all the sales of the shirts.
mhm,
Give him that. That every new jersey that is sold next year, Berkey, Klaus, whoever comes new, all of them, give him a percentage of those sales to complete his salary. He would be
Well, that's
happy.
that you
He
have to
doesn't
be
care where the
creative.
money comes from as long as you get the same amount of
yeah.
money.
S- I think that my biggest takeaway, again, DP designations aside, what I think you see is, and this might be the what I want to think of going forward is, how does the MLS as a league see investing in a keeper, right? Like you talk about the structure, right? You talk about having a salary floor of, or a cap of, like, what was it, 5.9 million last year, something around there, I think it was. And you talk about these designations allowing you to pay guys over the max, and but only having that same budget charge and so forth. But how do these teams that invest heavily in a keeper, the St. Louis's, the Orlando's, the Phillies, Toronto's an interesting one to me because they've been a roller coaster. Colorado, Columbus, Vancouver, Charlotte. That's and then what, LAFC and San Jose all have keepers over $700,000. It's just interesting to me how, I wonder if there's a correlation in success in terms of where, because that to me is the conversation, is how is your team investing in players in terms of what positions are you spending the most at? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it just makes me curious to see, um are there spots, because that's really the argument, is this takes away from your ability to invest in, say, a solid six and a DP left winger or something of that nature. I don't know what combination of players you'd want to bring in with the roster slots we have open, but I don't know. That's just my thought.
Okay, I want to answer Aaron with all the comments.
Yeah.
Branding doesn't matter where you are. Branding doesn't matter if you're in St. Louis, and you're in China, if you're in and Kansas, that is horrible. Any of that, like that branding doesn't matter. You have we have Emo's Pizza, we have Energizer, we have Bush, we have Purina. All those could easily just become Berkey could have been the brand of, like, the face of the brand, and pay him for that. That's branding. It doesn't matter what company, where you are, where if you create the deal, and that then you're able to pay him extra, because it is what it is, and everybody's gonna go and look at things for Berkey.
Yeah.
And this was my other point that I didn't get to touch. Berkey is an idol, and I don't even know what's the correct word for saying it, but let's be honest, every single girl in St. Louis die for him. They are obsessed with him. So if you put him on a branding that is something about women, facing women, guess what? You just bought everybody in St. Louis area. It's
Yeah.
not hard.
I think it's just create. You just have to be creative on how you can get other players. And I think you're just mentioning the whole David Beckham. What how they attracted him here. You know, he got crazy money, he got sponsorship. Hey, you also get to have your own club at a discounted price if you come and play in our league. So I think it's just you just have to find creative ways so that you don't have to spend as much. But you know what? At the end of the day, most people, when the season starts next time again, when he stands on top of his head and make a few save, right? People will totally forget about the DP spot. When he gets a little bit more help on defense, right? People will forget about that as well. I think for the time being is that there's a lot of unhappy fans, and maybe they were a little shocked to see that.
So let
Yeah.
me ask you this. Were people questioning Berkey in the first 5, 6 games when we had shutouts?
Mm-mm, no,
No.
And then he got hurt because I believe, like, somewhere in there he broke
his hand.
his hand.
Yep.
And
Of
then when he came back, like, he was still performing very well. Um, it's just like the team was not as solid on defense anymore to support that. So, and let's think of that in those 5 shutouts, he was the reason number one they were shutouts. Because LA, for example, LA Galaxy, we should have lost that game because he really stood on his head and saved every single thing that was coming his way.
But this is
But it's
the
just, but because it's the end of the season and we're on the last, and then it's the numbers doesn't say that he performed overly performed, and it's like, oh no, we shouldn't spend that much money. Like, come on, like, we need to spend money to be better in whatever position we want. Like, it's,
Mhm.
yes, the next one it needs to be a 6, and the next one needs to be a 9. Yes, we have to spend on that end, but at the same time, just because you're spending DP money doesn't mean you're gonna get good stuff. Look at Atlanta United. You spent a lot of money and you did not do crap this year.
Mhm.
you just read my
You
mind.
just have to find the good players. And I agree with Melo. Like, at the end of the day, doesn't matter who's gonna be the head of the club, who's gonna be directing, who's gonna be signing, who's gonna be coaching. Just bring good players, bring quality players. Don't n- and you mentioned JGR, for example. Like, don't bring that type of players that is you're never gonna see them play.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
So
read my mind.
no, and no, I think as far as Berkey goes, and then I think you guys have hit the nail on the head. I might still have my reservations about the DP slot, but as we start getting into more of the roster conversation, I think there are other avenues where we can still explore our ability to change what we can do. I think the bigger issue is who's going to be making those decisions, and what is that power struggle going to look like at the club, and how will that be decided? But I do think, Jerry, I think you're right. I think Berkey's going to be positive. I think it's a good deal. It had to get done. And the way they announced it was fantastic. I just am hung up on the DP slot a little
That was
One last.
the best thing that happened that night.
bit. It
I think that
was.
was the loudest I ever heard the stadium in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
One last thing about this, the Berkey sighting.
Yeah.
Doesn't that send also a statement to any potential players or high level players that says that even though we've had two crappy seasons, St. Louis was still able to show the project to their best player for him to re-sign for another 2 years? Because most players, if they see the house burning, they were like, "I'm out. I'm going somewhere else. I've already accomplished a lot of things that most goalkeepers have not accomplished." He could have just gone elsewhere and got paid maybe a little bit less money or more money, but they were they've done well enough of a job to keep him. Would you imagine now he can be a promoter for St. Louis and said to the next guys coming in that yes, these last 2 years were crappy, but they showed me a project that actually got me to sign for another 2 years. Because
Well,
dude got the money, so it's not like he's hurting for that. And that bonus was just to say, hey, stay here. A little incentive to say, hey, stay here. Because I can guarantee you the LA teams or the East Coast team probably would have picked him up in a heartbeat. They probably would have said, thank you, Berkey, on Monday. And on Wednesday, it was like he signed there.
I'm
So,
sure he had offers. I mean,
yeah.
there was a reason, like you mentioned, Jeremy, that he
mhm,
changed agencies because at the beginning of the year, like he showed like he was frustrated the way that things were going with the club and the
mhm,
conversations. So I think like changing an agent definitely did a move there.
mhm.
It could be
Smart
that this
one.
agent had a lot of connections, different ways that there's like, okay, let's get this going, or if at the end of the day, if Berkey really wanted to stay, say like, hey, let's find some ways that we can entice the
Mhm.
team to give me the deal that we want. And how you do that, you can different ways to get it. Like you go and look for other clubs, and the other clubs give you offers. You can really just lie to your teeth and say like, oh, I have this amazing offer over here, but Berkey wants to stay. What are you gonna do? Because at the end of the day, I think that Berkey can be our first legend of the club. If he was leaving, he would not be a legend of the club. He was done and said, like, he was a great captain, and he gave us 3 years of great performances because I do believe that he had 3 years of great performances so far. Um, not like Melo is saying. Um, I think he did perform well all 3 years. Um, if he gives us this next two and we actually compete and he retires, I don't see why not. It could be called the first legend of the club,
Oh,
and
yeah.
become like an idol because and especially because the way that you were talking about like mentoring others.
Mhm.
because he's not gonna be done there. Like if he retires, maybe he stays as a goalkeeper coach or like just part of the
or an
staff
exec or something.
or executive or something, So it just creates that. But you want him to reach if he becomes to that, like when he turns 37 and he's like, okay, I'm done, then that would be great. Just
Hmm.
retire in St.
Hmm.
Louis and be proud of being like, I'm proud of retiring in this club, and we brought it to a different level.
Yeah, you started the club and you retire, and I think usually 5 years that kind of the window where people starting to sort of put labels on legend, because I think it's like what 5 then 10 years when you start becoming. So I think people are just seeing it, the DP and the play on the field, but there's so many factors that players get paid more money, and maybe he exceeded his expectations that when he signed his contract originally, maybe he already exceeded those stats and
Mhm.
expectations. He probably met those in the first season, but they
Mhm.
don't review it until the third for his new contract. So
Yeah.
we actually paying for DP that we actually seen the product, where like Oscar said, Atlanta paid DP money for a player that never played in the MLS, and guess what? They didn't get their money in the first year.
That's
So
true. So I think you guys have mentioned the project several times. I don't quite know what the project is fully. I don't think
nobody
anybody
does.
might, but
Nobody does. Berkey
but
does.
but
Yes.
but we do know the first phase of the project apparently was executing contract offers. As we pivot
Mm.
the conversation a little bit off of just the goalkeeper, we talk about the rest of this roster that we still have to fill out. So again, kind of old news, but just recapping what's happened since we were last on. The contract options for the following players were picked up: Chris Durkin, Sang-Bin Jong, Zhao Klaus, Brendan McSorley, Christian Oliveris, Hazi Orozco, and Miggy Perez. So they will all be back for the 2026 campaign. The players who, as of today, will not be back are Henry Kessler, Michael Vincel, Josh Yarrow, Rasmus Alm, Alfredo Morales, and Akil Watts. It was called out that three of those players um, are still undergoing negotiations, including Henry Kessler and Josh Yarrow. Ben Lunt still in negotiations as well. Other negotiation folks still underway, including Joe Linsky, Jay Reed, Seth Antwi, and then, of course, loan agreements for Conrad Vollum, who was on loan from Slavia Prague, and Devin Padelford from Minnesota United. Those loan deals will expire, but the club is in conversations with their parent clubs. I do want to real quickly mention two things. One about Padelford, can confirm from a club source that there was no buy option in the Padelford loan agreement because Minnesota had existing offers on the table from other MLS clubs, including Austin and Vancouver. Don't know what those offers were, but I feel confident in saying that City will probably join in those offers in the race for him based on the fact that Minnesota had re-signed Anthony Markanic already. That same source tells me that Conrad Vollum, his option, as we feared, is really expensive. I don't have the exact figures, but also feel pretty confident in saying, unless Carolyn Kindle opens the pocketbook in ways that she may have not in the past, I don't think we're going to see Conrad Vollum back at Energizer Park.
So
Sure.
the first thing that I would say and all that is like the ones that you mentioned they got extended or they took the options.
Mhm.
I would say technically they will be back next year.
They could be transferred.
Technically,
That's
because
fair.
they could be traded, they could be sold.
Mm.
And a lot of people were like, "Wait, why you're picking this, or why you still bringing this back, or so and such." You have to also think that if you were letting all that list go, if you're saying we're not picking up any of these players, then you have to buy players. You have to buy what 12 15 players
Yeah.
that they were there kind of like out of contract.
Hmm.
You have to buy new players, and you're not getting money from any of these players. So you cannot do that. As a club, you cannot not extend contracts because you just letting the players go for free. So there was a lot of people, even like obviously I disagree, like Klaus should be coming back. But a lot of people are like, oh, why are you signing Klaus? And it's like, well, it's your most valuable player. Even if you don't want him in your project, you still need to re-sign him to sell him because
Hmm.
you will make money out of him. Simple as that.
It's
If
nothing new.
well, it seems new for a lot of people when the news break. Uh
Yeah.
there was a lot of comments for like Durkin and shoot, what was the other one that it was kind of like, oh, why are you doing this? But is the reason is there is because let's say we don't want Durkin, but you have to make money. He's a young player. He's out of the U22 deals, but he's still young, and he's not a terrible player. Like he
Hmm.
needs to improve in a lot of things, and like every player that is young, but you can get money out of him. So like if you don't want him in your project, you still have options to sell him, get some money, recover some money, and then invest it in other players that you want. You cannot let all these 12, 15 players leave. And I'm surprised that they actually that big list of
Hmm.
not picking up the options is that big. And that's why like I'm thinking Kessler and Yaro and the other two that they're kind of like in here and there, like because you have to give him a decent deal to say if I'm not able to sell him, at least the player is happy that he's getting paid what it needs to be, and give him an option of playing. And you know the player's not gonna be a surprise. It's not gonna be like, oh, we're awful. Why did we resign this person? Like no, like Kessler and Yaro are great players to have in your squad. One is because he's a top center back that he should be a starting center back. The other one because he's a depth center back that he helps a lot when your people get hurt, like Kessler that gets hurt half the season. So you have to
Hmm.
combine those.
And you have to balance the sheets as well. You cannot just go and say, you know what, these were the players that their stats were this low, but when somebody's getting paid 250K, right, a year, and then you're like, oh, they're practice squad players, right? They may fill in for a few minutes here and there or a game here and there. Are you really going to go and replace a 250K a year player with another 600, 800, 900K bench player? Or are you going to keep those players that maybe not your starter, not your third, second, or fourth string, but
Hmm.
yet they still have the leadership, they're still mentoring, and they're still even mentoring the best players in your team. One example that I like to use is I think Manchester City had that 43-year-old goalkeeper. He was their fourth string goalkeeper.
Hmm.
Dude was getting paid a h ton of money. He knew darn well he was not going to play, but he
Hmm.
was mentoring even their starter goalkeeper. But he was making less
Hmm.
money. But you still have your bench players that practice. Our problem was that our third and fourth options had to have significant time because everybody else was on the uh,
Hmm.
CDER, we're going to call them, right?
So yeah. Here's why, like, now that we're to this point of the conversation, I think it's worth mentioning. Well, I guess first off, I want to call out Henry Kessler for just a second, is because to me,
They
uh,
better sign him.
there's two things. One, Durkin, I was upset. So fully transparent, I didn't like bringing Durkin back originally, because his cap hit goes up. But it's really not any different. He was already getting paid that same amount of money. The only difference is he doesn't save us like $300,000 against the salary cap. So you know what? Not knowing the certainty of Edu Leuven's situation with his wife, knowing that we're not bringing back Morales, not feeling the most confident that Perez or Antwi are ready to step into that role in serious, meaningful ways, means that we had to do something. I don't know what that is, but I think that Durkin has to come back. So if it's really the only difference is a $300,000 hit on the or $320,000 hit on the salary cap, I can live with it for another season. Is he going to be to me part of the core beyond that? Undecided. I would still love more defensive responsibility and positioning from him and awareness. As you said, Oscar, one of the many things he has to improve on. But outside of Durkin coming back, I don't really feel like any of these and that's why I would love the transparency of knowing who's making these moves. Well, it's Hackworth and Diego, but let's just clear that up. But I would like to know. I don't feel like any of these are blatantly, obviously wrong or right, but I would like to bring Kessler back, and we can get into that conversation when you guys are ready.
I'm ready. I think he should because the small sample that we saw with him and Follow connection,
Mm-hmm.
those were two. I think that was for me the more promising duo for the back, especially.
Yep.
So that's why I was kind of surprised that there was still discussions and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're still trying to, Kessler want to make sure he gets a better deal than he currently have, especially knowing that the guy to his left is getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also is one of those factors where it's like, well, I know what my peers are getting paid. We know what your new transfer guy came in. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so I did throw in there some stats for Henry with his ranks among center backs. If you want to throw that up real quick. So again, against all MLS center backs, his minutes is going to be low because he was hurt and missed a bunch of games. But some things that still jump out at you. So net goals plus added over 96 minutes in terms of like what was his positive impact. 0.07. I know that's a very low number, but that is third in all of MLS, considering he only played 1,500 minutes and was better than those who played, double that or close to double that, are almost as good as that. I mean, that's remarkable to me that he's that impactful. Final third recoveries. He had the 15th most final third recoveries in all of MLS among center backs. Passing, 91% passing, good for 30th among all center backs who played a minimum of 500 minutes this season. Progressive actions per ball loss. We talk about wanting to play out of the back, and I know 42nd doesn't sound high, but when you talk about the number of center backs who played a minimum of 500 minutes and it's over 120 players, he's in the top third of that at 42nd. The 26th most blocked shots, 39th most clearances. So when you're talking about these guys who are, out of, let's say, 125 players or so that met the criteria of playing at least 500 minutes, and he's in the top tier in a lot of these areas. He'd be better in progressive passing and total passing distance if I think the first half of this or the first 15 games weren't under Olaf. But to me, this is why, to me, I justify paying the man. I agree, don't exercise the option because it would have been a substantial raise, according to sources with the club. But I do think you have to bring him back because, one, the stats tell you he is maybe borderline elite center back play in the MLS. But beyond that, he fits what we need to do, especially as you just laid out, Mo, behind Falou, where you need a sweeper.
Oscar, anything?
Um, I think that one it depends a lot of what the price tag is gonna be and the salary.
Okay.
I'm okay having him. I'm okay not having him. Um, he's a great player. He's a great center back. He can provide a lot. But I'm in the if because of the injuries. Because I believe this is not the first year that he had a setback on playing time for an injury. I think it was one of the longest that he ever had, but at the same time, he has had issues before, if I'm not wrong. And if the price is too high on that end, I think you can find center backs that they can do the same or even more.
Okay. I guess my thing is just really wanting to find somebody that complements Falu. Because I think that's one thing that jumps out at me is he seems to be very aggressive, liking to jump forward, move not just from a possession standpoint, but when he goes in to make tackles, he likes to step up. Which I think that's why he and Hebert didn't work well together because Hebert wasn't very good at reading that and filling that gap behind him. Um, but that's just how I read it. I could be missing something.
Well,
Nah,
I think Fallow is not a first center back. I think Fallow is a second center back, and having the issue with like Heaver was like Fallow was forced to play a fair center back, and Heaver being the second center back, and that's where like the misconnection and miscommunication came because like you're saying, like you have that characteristic of one of your center backs being the aggressive one the one that sits back, and if you flip flop that into it, it's kind of like throws them off of the game, and obviously they didn't have enough time to work things out with those two. Um, I mean, Falu, I just don't know. I haven't. I feel like I haven't seen him enough to tell like what type of partner he needs. I think because I think he worked fine with um even like with Timo, he worked out fine. I think his best were obviously with Kessler that it was it is an ideal partnership, but it's not something that you cannot break apart. Um, I feel like it's not the same deal that when we made the mistake of releasing Parker to get Kessler. I think Parker was more meaningful in the center back position, in the leadership style than Kessler. He's just a good center back. He's strong and he does his job defending, but he's not a leader. He's not a commander in the defense. He's just there. He's another piece. So I don't think if we lose any, it will be such a big of a loss. Um, but again, if we lose him, we gotta go get something better, not equal or lower.
That's fair. I just think we have to get somebody because looking at who's left, so the only center backs under contract now are Fall and Baumgartel. The backup would be Hebert. And then I don't know if you had looked to Gabby McKenna if you think he's ready to get minutes from City 2 yet. He was the captain. He's been at the best 11 2 years in a row, I think. Um, that's your depth right now. So whether again, I would bring back Kessler if the price. I don't know if it's the price are right. I'd bring him back if he's no higher salary than he had before. But um, that said, um, if we don't bring him back, I still think we have to have an addition at that position.
that'd
I
be the
mean, you
most
have to think
interesting
also
move.
that I mean it's a job, so you, in your job you have to still pay him a little bit more if you're extending a
Mhm.
contract. I mean, it's let let let's be honest. Like, do we all we will go and sign a new contract and say like, hey, we gotta pay you less in our jobs? No, like every year we go and every year we want a raise because I mean inflation and cost of living grows and so you want more in your job. So like being realistic, you would have for him that he's not in a decline level of performance. Like he's not in a decline level
Mhm.
yet. Like he's not his stage is not a decline. He's actually probably going upward. So like if you're gonna really re-sign him, you will probably have to pay him more.
Or just give
That
him like
hopefully not that much, but you have to give him more.
just give him like unlimited access to every historical site in St. Louis. Let him ride, go to the museums. He likes to do all of this fun city stuff. Just give him a free access,
Give him
unlimited
access.
lifetime access. He can go
Give
to
him
see
the
the
key of the city.
yeah, give him like the puppy. I think he posted that he missed the puppy parade and all that. Make sure
Mhm.
you put one together for him and his pups. Just like Oscar said, be creative to make it feel like home. Um, you
So
he worked for Parker, right? Because he was willing to settle his family here, house, and everything else. Make it that incentive, maybe.
Yeah,
with
Send us
find
his name.
what his favorite restaurant, like his favorite top three restaurants. Say like, hey,
Lifetime.
let him eat for free.
Yeah,
I
lifetime.
mean, he made 1.3 million last year. That was his guaranteed salary. So if he can bring it back around that, I don't have a problem with it
You
because I
say
do
one
think
point three.
$1.3 million is what his salary was last year.
Okay.
And we're spending a lot on defense. Whew.
City does spend a lot on the defensive side of the ball. So I mean, compared to, and actually, I don't think they've published what Timo's salary is 643,000. So um,
Mm.
we'll see. So I think that was the only one that I really am like, okay, I get why they declined the option, but I would like to see him back for
How
sure.
much was Parker making?
When he was here or now?
Yeah. No, when he was
Uh,
here.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
but
look.
let's remember, I
Well,
think
Houston was paying most of
yeah,
sal.
yeah, they were paying almost
Houston,
half of it.
yeah, Houston paid like 400,000 of his $1 million salary or something like that. He was making about $1 million. But yeah, Tim Parker now is making 347,500 according to the MLSPA.
And you
Wow.
see where he lives.
He's
That
Yeah,
money
gonna
is
hit.
nothing compared to St. Louis market.
well, and so
Man,
Mello,
he's
I
gonna
think
hit.
1.3 for if Kessler could stay healthy, Mello, I don't think I'd question 1.3 million at all. Just being honest.
That better get us at least 5 wins just for that 1.3.
How much Follow makes?
They have not published his salary yet. He was not. Yeah, so his
No, how,
salary
how much
information was
Follow
not.
makes?
How much
Me?
Mello?
I will probably
Um,
tell you he probably does not make more than 1 million.
all I know is I'm on a DP salary. I'm just here
Because
so I don't get
yeah,
fined.
because if you think about it, if his purchase price was like what, three something,
Hmm.
I don't think they
Yeah,
will pay him 1 million
yeah. He
a
he was the
year.
second highest transfer fee in club history, just
Yeah.
under Klaus at like 3.1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
So what is Klaus getting paid? That's the question.
Klaus is like the second or third highest paid player on the club right now. He's like a 1.3, I think. So I believe your three highest paid players, if I remember correctly. Let me look at that real quickly. It's Berkey,
Cartel was
Hartle, or no, it's Hartle's the most expensive at $2 million. He's the only one getting who has a $2 million or more
Oh,
contract, at least
nice.
as of now. Klaus is the second most expensive. He was making just as much, if not a little bit more than Berkey at 1.37 million. Leuven makes more than Klaus. So I think it was Hartle, Berkey, Leuven at 1.39, Klaus at 1.37, and then Cedric Teukert at 1.34. Those are your $4 million or five
jeez.
$1 million or more, and then Kessler who was at 1.3. So you had six players making over a million, and then don't forget Tomas Ostrak who's at 800,000.
I'm okay with 800,000 for Ostrek, but you have
Mm-hmm.
to use him.
Yeah, and then
You have to make him play. Like,
Sang Bin at 747 or 737. I'm
oh
sorry.
man, that's tough because like you mentioned two players there that they or three players that this
Hmm.
season they only play half of the season.
Yeah,
So that's a season and a half and 2 year season that
yeah.
you have your highest spend money. They're not participating in games. Tough. Um, Hey,
Oh,
Mello
looks
was
like they
like, "Hey, will
said
you take less money if a man working for the club?" It depends.
somebody.
It
what
depends,
what's my role?
right?
I don't know if
What
it's
I'm doing and do I have room to grow?
I don't know if it's correct, but they're saying that Fallow's reported base salary for the 2025 is 500K
Okay.
as of like May 2025.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, I will have to look. I'll take it if that's what it
I
is.
won't tell you where I got, but
No, I will take your I'll take your word for it at this point.
I think
You know,
Mo is lying.
hey,
yeah.
you know what? It's live and it's recorded. Going back, we'll make sure when it's released. Oscar, if I'm right, I don't know. You're gonna have
I'll buy
next
you
time
beer
I go.
or some
Next time I go to the marquee, you owe me a meal. If I'm right.
deal.
If
You
the
guys are too
chat
funny.
also noted it, so and
So,
tell you yes, he is underpaid.
Celio, 253, 144. That was he got a big raise from 24 to 25. He got
I
like
think
almost a hundred
yeah,
thousand dollar
I
raise.
think all of the next pro guys that first started originally, if you
Hmm.
watch even Herbert and all that, they all got a nice bump up from like what 65K something.
Hmm.
I think some of them were making to 100, which is a nice jump, and I think also a half decent
Yeah.
living wage, which
I
I think
well,
it's not.
Mellow. Yeah. Well, Mello, so I think City, if you talk about designated players as a whole, it does feel like on the lower end of that, City does does pay their DPs a little less. I would need to crunch the numbers. I did it at the end of last season. I haven't done it yet at this for this last past season, but I need to go through and make a list of all the DPs and their salaries. But I know last year it felt like we didn't invest a lot because our DPs were just Klaus and Hartle at the end of the season. And Klaus only makes 1.3. The only reason Klaus was a designated player was because of they couldn't amortize his transfer fee over the short deal that his contract was for. Um, so yeah, he wasn't a DP on salary. He was a DP because of his transfer fee. No, so I mean, I don't know, guys. Any other roster thoughts? Otherwise, we can kind of talk about the coaching and sporting director search before we wrap up and get out here. We went a little bit over the 90 minutes I think we were shooting for, but it's been
No,
good conversation.
I heard from somebody that I was talking to. Apparently, our good friend Nielsen is
Mm-hmm.
actually still in St. Louis, rehabbing, and
Mm.
he's actually trying to get back to his home country for his original team, home team,
Oh,
and I think he's going to, I guess, physio almost 4 to 5 days a week for hoping to go back and play back home.
I mean, I
well,
do wish him like he gets back to it. Like he was so bad on injuries, like, but he was quality when he was in the field. Like he definitely brought the quality up.
Yeah,
It's the
and he was
same
not
way
injured
like
when
with
he was out of
Rasmus
St. Louis.
Holm. Like Rasmus was great. I think
Yeah.
one of my favorite players that we had in City for these 3 years. The moments like he was in the field, I had so much joy watching him play.
Mhm.
But just just injuries. It just
mhm.
sucks.
Well, and that's a whole other conversation, guys, because I think something you got to figure out what the deal is with these injuries. Whether is it fluke things like Berkey's broken hand that you can't stop, or Ostrock broke his foot in practice at one point? Is it those little fluke things like that, or are they all just muscle injuries that are load management? I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be some look into that part of it.
I
Maybe
think
they're not built
Mo
for the
mentioned it
weather.
a lot. I think Mo mentioned it a lot during the year that we have to start evaluating the players and the commitment with staying fit and healthy.
Hmm.
I don't think to a point now, like the physios are not the problem. They might not be the best on recovering times, but the reason all these injuries are having it happening is because these players are not focused on recovery after games and after practices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're as committed to getting spending that time to it. And also, like, I think like the practices, the way that they were practices going before, they were too hard. They were planned not the best way. I think Olive was not switching the style of like double gym and hard on Thursdays or something like that. It would something ridiculous. I think points in favor of Critchley, I think is was that I don't think we had that many muscle injuries after he took charge, and that tells you like at least his training style and his sessions are not overworking the players.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it shouldn't have taken what was it felt like it was like match week 27 or 28 where they finally are like, oh yeah, we're fit now, we can play a full 90. That just boggled my mind, and I know you dealt with injuries, but man, that was hard to hear.
yeah.
I forget
Let's hope
who
for
it
the best.
was. Yeah. So, but that's interesting. I mean, hopefully, I mean, it sounds like the club is helping Nielsen. Then, and which is good on the club too.
That
If
I
they're willing
cannot
to do
say.
it.
I'm not sure
No,
about
no,
that,
no. I
but
know.
yes.
Yeah, no, I believe you. But yeah, I just, it's still neat, and I do hope he finds what he wants. Or finds that opportunity he's looking for. But guys, the roster decisions have started. We don't have full transparencies on who's making them, but the search for a head coach and search for a sporting director goes on. I think we've heard over the last, I don't know, month, about 3 or 4 names of folks that have interviewed or been part of conversations around the job.
Yeah.
John Hackworth was the in-house candidate that Diego has said is in the running. And then we various outlets have reported Lee Dykes, the Brentford sporting director, Will Kuntz, the general manager from um, Columbus, or not Columbus, I'm sorry, the general manager from LA Galaxy, and then the former next pro, I forget what his exact title was. He was like the third in command in Columbus, and then the Montreal sporting director, Corey Ray. Those are the three outside. So those are the 4 names that we've kind of heard and more or less confirmed. Um, so I'm curious what you guys think about where we are with this search. Is it weird? Is it troubling that we haven't found anybody or named someone yet?
Mm,
So
all of the
this
above.
is gonna sound shocking for you because mid-season, when all this happened,
Mm-hmm.
first I wanted to have a coach right away. I still want it because I think the coach is the main. For me, is the most important part right now is to have a coach that knows what the project's gonna be, how you're gonna work it, how you're gonna deal with the idea of the club, and how you're gonna manage. That I will say I'll stay put on that. Whoever it is at this point, but just pick one.
Okay.
For the general manager or the sporting director, whatever you want to call it, I when Lutz was fired, I said you should have a plan and already implement it. At this point of the season and at this point of where we are, I don't even care if there's one or not.
Tell us how you really
I don't
feel.
care if at this point it's just gonna be Diego and Hack making decisions, or even if it's just Diego making the decision.
Do
Go
you,
for
do
it.
you
Let him cook. Let him cook. Let him see what happens.
do
At
you
this point, let him do it. If he was good enough for Berkey to do it, to commit, then let it happen. I might not be seeing something. I might not seeing that Diego told Berkey that they're gonna have X person that is coming soon. That could be. Or
Mhm.
Diego just said like, look, this is what we want to do and I'm making the decisions and Berkey's like, okay, let's see it. Let's work on it. I'm on that point that just let the project go. As the new project started, the moment that Lutz got fired, and they start building that project, and now it's saying that Berkey knows the project and that is a project that is going to be successful or wants to bring the quality of the club in the next 2 years, then let's see it. Whoever the name is, whoever's going to come, or if nobody comes, but let's see it. Let's see what really that project is. But don't make decisions and don't make assumptions right now. If
Mm-hmm.
just because Diego is Diego and people had a bad taste of Diego for the little comments or the big comments or whatever he has done in the club,
Mm-hmm.
some people are saying like, well, he doesn't have experience in X or Y things. It's like, dude, that person, like him or not, has more experience than anybody has been in these chats and anybody that he's been in this podcast. He has been around the soccer world and eats and and sleeps the soccer world. In the business side, possibly, but he has been connected. He has been in that environment for a long time, and he was in an environment that it was very successful. That yes, it mean that he needed to have money. That it was the Manchester City environment, but he has been around that. He's not a nobody, and all the people that brag about Lutz knowing everybody in the world, but now they're criticizing Diego because he doesn't know anything. If it's Diego, it's Diego. Let him be. Like he has some knowledge, he has some context, and that, and we'll see what happens. If he makes mistakes, I'll be the first one saying like, "Hey, you're doing the bad things now."
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be shy about it. But so far, what he has done wrong in these new decisions, point me out that the new decisions that the new project started was the bad decisions. I would say the only thing that I criticize him is that we don't have a coach
that we know of.
that we know of,
So,
right?
all
Because
right.
they could easily have it behind closed doors.
So let me run a question by you, just purely a hypothetical. We know Lutz got let go because the perception was that he picked Olaf. What if the Olaf hire was really Diego's? What if he chose Olaf? Does that change your opinion at all? And we're never going to know what really happened, but just a what if.
I mean, if he's really, I mean, because it's hypothetical, it's hard to really
Yeah.
figure out if really, because yes, he will change my mind a little bit because it was definitely a misplaced there. Like
Yeah.
that hiring was misplaced, but I think there was there had to be a lot into
Yeah.
it between those two. Whoever had the last call, sure, you should take the most blame of it, but you were part of a team bringing someone in that took time, and they said that you interviewed and saw resumes, and so whatever, either or, you both had some of it in it, um that it
Mm-hmm.
was just not right. But at this point, I would say, like, if we go and we ask Berkey, hey, you think all of hiring was bad? He even would probably say yes. And
Mm-hmm.
then you ask him, like, hey, do you still believe in trust in the new project? He will probably say yes too.
Okay. I'm I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little shocked. I did not expect to hear the defense of Diego from you tonight, Oscar. Um, um, my only. I guess I'm in that camp of people that he doesn't have a history as a sporting director.
All right,
I,
let's
I,
let's let's stop that right there.
okay,
Let's
okay,
stop that right there.
okay.
Sporting director. Who can we? If we say he didn't have the experience,
Mm-hmm.
the LA Galaxy sporting director. Where did he start his sport management career? In
Where did the
baseball.
right? Well,
And then he
okay.
went to and then he went to basketball. Now we're talking Diego, who was with Manchester City group, right? He worked on that group to not only for the team in England, but for all of the sister club that they had to put in that group. So that means we're saying that it's someone maybe that does he has the soccer background because he's Argentinian. So that means he knows soccer. Yes. He has the foundation on there. The business part was because you have to kind of put, all of these groups together from other clubs. You have to learn different leagues. You have to learn, how to maneuver those businesses. I understand some people are kind of upset because his current title says, he was on the business side of things, but they all had to make the same decision when Olaf got hired. It was not one person that says, "This is my guy. You have to sign off." They all had to. I think they all have something that we can criticize on for his hiring,
Mhm.
but also at the same time is that where is the sporting side of things that people saying he does not know nothing, he should not make those decisions.
Well, so it's
I
because
think
none
they're
of
all
the
basing it with the comment he made when Lutz was fired, but
When he
I
was
think
saying he's
it's a
not trying
comment
to
that
make
people are
sporting decision, but then you have to
correct
pivot,
because
right?
people are saying right.
You
Exactly.
fire, you
I'm
fired,
agreeing with
you
you, Mo,
fired the guy.
perfectly.
Yeah, you fired the
Are you
guy.
gonna say I'm making all the decisions? No,
Yeah, and you fired the guy,
it's
and then you
obvious.
have Hacked being partially as the sporting director, but he's not fully the director because guess what? He also has CD2, and he also has on top of that his job as like the director of coaching. So now everybody, when you fire someone that has one specific role, now everybody that's within that business has to take a part of the duties that the person that got let go to be able to continue business, right?
so okay. So just
Yeah.
talking about Diego
Yes,
for a
right,
second.
right. You fire someone that has all of these roles,
Mhm.
someone has to pick it up. They took two
Well,
people to do the job for the time being.
yeah, no, business doesn't stop. I agree. And that's why I said earlier, like a lot of the decisions we all agreed were kind of common sense, nothing really surprising, right? So
Yeah.
that makes sense. But hearing that they have, like, I get that they're going to have a vision and a plan, but I guess the concern that I have is one, looking at Diego. Yes, he worked for Manchester City. He was the director of marketing, media, and fan development, and then he worked with helping them acquire and operate investments. It was purely business. So it's not technical. He shouldn't be evaluating players. That's where Hack has to come in. But my concern is if you
Actually,
go with a
marketing, they do evaluate players as well because the marketability of that player goes into impact on that as well.
but that's not
And
as but
also,
it's not
Jeremy, think that just because your title says you're doing something, it's not like you're just touching the marketing part. Like you're working with a group, and this group is bringing a player. You know what that player means. You're working with people that know what that player does. So even if your title and what your specific chore on this group is to do the marketing part, you're still working and getting involved and developing knowledge on these other areas because you're talking to the person. It's like, Jeremy, you are the sporting director, and I'm Diego working for Man City, and Mo is the player, right? You bring the player, I have to work on how to market Mo,
mhm.
and I'm talking to you why you bring this
So
player.
So okay,
Why did you
so
bring him? What qualities he has? What things he can bring to this group so I can do my job, but at the same time you're also selling me what this player does. So I'm
so
learning why this player is good.
so
And
what
he
you're
work
telling.
in the top environment of soccer. He work in the Premier League with top players. He knows what a good player is or not, and how to recruit and how to bring people or where to market, where to look for them. He might not be the most person that has all the contacts out, but he knows people that they can do that or the strategies that they can do that.
Hmm. I don't know. I guess in my mind, I'm thinking of, and again, this is me
Did we lose
saying maybe
everybody?
I don't know the hierarchy of the way a club works, because to me, sporting director identifies who we should have, who we need, what we need, the talent we need, goes to the owner and says, this is what I need in a transfer budget, and they work it out. They can market that crap later. They can do all the marketing after they've signed the stuff and can do it that way.
Mhm.
To me, I don't want my sporting director having to go to my marketing guy or my business manager to say, hey, this is what I want, and him being able to have the authority to stop me from going to the owner to ask for the money I need. That to me sounds like meddling BS and just complicates this, what to me should be a simple structure within the club. But maybe I don't know football. Maybe that's just my naive
Unfortunately,
view.
what
But
business
why
have
is he a
made so
president now?
much.
Because Carolyn doesn't want to have hands in the pot other than signing a check. Because Carolyn's not a football person. She said that
Yeah,
multiple times.
okay, but well, but why is he the president? Because he's qualified to develop all the president side of
Okay.
side of things. Like um Florentino Perez, for example. Florentino Perez is
Oh,
a
Yeah.
president.
Yeah. No, I know who. Yeah, President of Real Madrid. Yeah, I'm with you.
So
I
so
don't know.
Florentino Perez also is basically the one. I mean, with others under him.
Mhm.
But when Florentino Perez wants a player, what he does,
he go
So,
get that player.
he gets it.
Yeah.
so then, just hearing this, I just, for the sake of my own
So
understanding, I'm, I'm gonna let you guys. You both trust Diego to steer this ship, and
Oh,
you trust,
oh,
and we
take
trust, and we
take
trust Hack, huh?
take it easy.
No, no, I just have to understand
Trust
because,
is a very that's a big word.
well, you either do or you don't. I don't trust him,
I
and honestly, I don't know that I think Hack has connections outside the U.S.
No, Hike has more than outside of the U.S.
You
because
think
he
so?
coached U.S. international soccer for long enough, and he was a you know head coach Philadelphia and all that. So yes, he does. But I'm saying not saying trust is that I think too many people right now are basing maybe on what at the sports they're used to watching
Okay.
and think that every sporting director is like that because now in today's time I can promise you that if you could have the best player in the world, right? If you cannot market that guy, most of those teams were not going to go and purchase that player. Is that right? That's why they find ways to go and says, "Hey, you might be the best player here, but guess what? We technically have to bring you to League 1 or Premier League to get your status up a little bit so you can
Mhm.
then move up to the next club that will pay you a lot more money." And like you said, presidents have a lot of technical influence. PSG, for example, the royal family that has the president also does player selections and he still goes and get those players. He puts his input in there. Chelsea, the blue group that purchased him, they hired 5 sporting directors to pick to go and find players. But at the same time, the owner, like Bowley, is not a soccer guy, right? He's a financial whatever he does in business. He owns the Dodgers, but he came into soccer and spent a whole bunch of money in there. But he picked players and he has no soccer background. I think it's almost like the nature of what soccer has become these days, where the roles have changed so much that there's people that have titles to do certain things. Sporting
Okay.
directors sometimes used to be the coaches before, right? We all know that. The Sir Ferguson and all that, they were all of that put together in one place. Am I wrong? Maybe.
No, I like I said, I don't know that you're wrong. I just I this is not how I saw the conversation going in my head, guys.
I mean, I
I
disagree with that comment. Like Diego, like it says, when Diego was hired, it was made very clear Diego was business side, Lutz was sporting side. Yes, of course, because you had two, right? And also because and at this point of everybody was okay with Lutz having all the power and all the decisions, but the moment like if someone else gets it, like it's just like a power grab. Like how is that? Do, you don't realize that Lutz had all the power in the club because he basically was the founder of the club.
Mhm.
He brought every single player has been in St. Louis City.
I
He built this 5-year project. He was the one with all the power and what he was bringing. But the moment, like, because we're not gonna lie, he made a lot of mistakes. Like he brought a lot of players he shouldn't brought here. So there was a reason why he is not here.
Mhm.
And now you get another person that is trying to make things happen that we don't even know what's going to happen because there's been couple things that we have done since then, and so far I don't think they're bad decisions, and people are freaking out because of the comments that he was not going to be the business side,
Mhm.
but also because you don't know what's really behind doors. You
well,
don't know if they, like, seriously, you don't have any idea if they have a sporting director lineup. You don't know if they have a coach lineup, and people say like, oh well, if they have it, why they don't announce it? Are you gonna give everything away right away and see like what a team's doing at this point? Like, what's you're not competing right now. You have
So
4 months that you're not gonna be competing. Why do you have to say things out loud? You can keep it closed doors. Nothing's demanding you to say everything just because Jeremy wants to know.
that's fair.
and by the
So
way, I just was just checking because I have about things that I put together. So apparently, his title says he's the president and general manager, and he's over all club operations.
mhm.
It does not say marketing. It
No,
says
Or
yeah,
business
clubs.
side.
Yes, this is operations. He's oversees strategy operations at the board level. So that means he's not just doing marketing. He's the head of the anything that has to do with players marketing and their involvement of the club. So it does not say he's the marketing guy. I bet if we Google and see, maybe there's someone at City that has the marketing title, but he's in the club operations. He leads all club operations. I mean, that's
Yeah,
also bringing players.
he's the president that manages and oversees
Yeah,
all the economic part of it,
but also
all the
players and everything.
marketing part of it, and also the management too. Like it has to be everything there.
So
And
sounds like
just
club operation is encompass all of that. He's the
yeah,
next person right after
and
Carolyn.
and Chris,
and
Chris, Chris, Chris is basically reading my mind. That's my concern, and because my honest thought and my honest opinion, I do not trust Diego to be making the right decisions.
Based on what?
He okay, all right, okay. Here we go. Let's
no,
let's flip
no,
the
wait,
script.
wait,
No,
wait, wait, wait. Before you go there,
yeah, yeah,
answer me this:
yep.
before Lutz was here, do you know him? Do you know what he did?
Diego or Lutz?
No,
I
Lutz.
didn't know either of them. I didn't know either of them.
Okay. So, Did anybody question Lutz? Did anybody question Lutz at the beginning?
No, but
Wasn't the hashtag and Lutz we trust?
yes, it was. I have a Lutz We Trust sticker over my
Oh,
Okay,
seat.
Melo just put it there.
so why why just because there's not
Okay.
experience managing a team, because it you ask me, Lutz never managed a team before unless he did. But for me,
Luke,
I still haven't read any biography or anything like that.
he
I just know what it happens here, and it just that he had a lot of contacts and he
mhm.
played in a lot of different places, but he never was the GM or the sporting director in any club
Yes, he
until
was.
City.
No, he was. He was at Dusseldorf right before he came here. He
Oh
worked for
wow!
Hoffenheim and he worked at
What's that?
Dusseldorf.
Is this in a Harry Potter world?
No, it's in the Bundesliga or in Germany, in Bundesliga 2. But my point is, no, he had sporting experience. He came in and he did the job. But okay, so then here's what I'm going to say. If we're going to say Diego gets final say over all of the players, how much of the cross does he have to bear for the misses that Lutz had? Because if we're saying that he agreed with things and he had to approve them anyway, how much of the fault is his? Because City has gone 26, 25, and 43 in MLS competitions, including the 2 playoff losses to Sporting Kansas City, since Diego was appointed. You can make the same record for Lutz if you want to,
Okay,
just to be it even.
They
But
they're all on it.
okay, they're all on it
Yeah,
first, but
they're all on it.
second, Jeremy, I'm Lutz, and I'm bringing you
yeah,
3 bad players.
okay.
Pick.
If they're all bad, I don't want them. Like why? Like that's why
But you
would we
don't know
do
they're
that?
bad, but this is what they're bringing you, and
Well,
you
but
have to approve one of the 3.
first of all, would I not want to do my own and like look at that? Well, or have someone I trust do analysis? Did he? So
Okay,
my point is, there's broken
but
trust. Then
okay, but you're not seeing my point.
no, I am. I think. Go ahead,
Lutz
make it.
is
And
bringing players, and he's saying he's not saying they're bad players. Lutz is saying this is a great player, this is a great player, this is a great
yeah.
player, right?
Uh-huh.
Pick one, or say like I recommend this,
Well, and so
right?
that's
So
no.
you're gonna say like oh no, I don't want any of them.
I'm gonna say let me do some analysis and we'll make a joint decision. I guess if that's
You
the
have a
relationship
sporting
that
director for what reason? If you had
that's
a sporting director, why you have it?
to trust their decision. So we don't. So if I'm
Correct.
so
So
my
if my sporting director is bringing 3 players, are you gonna judge his decisions, or you gonna say like which one you recommend? Okay, let's go.
yeah, and that's what I'm gonna do. Is I would if I trusted my sports director, then yes, yeah, I'm making that. That's exactly the question. You pick. You here's 3. You give me 3. You pick the one, and then we go.
I'm gonna say like which one is the one you want, and if it matches the salary that we want to pay, and it
Yeah.
matches what we're supposed to be doing in the project and how it's gonna fit in the team, and you're saying it's gonna fit. Like if my sporting director is telling me, bringing me that player and saying this is gonna fit this way, this is the amount of money we would spend. Let's negotiate this. And if all that works out, if I'm the president and I have a sporting director, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say, well, you're bringing it to me. That's what I'm paying you to do, to bring the job and bring the players that you think are beneficial for that. So, how you going to blame Diego for making a decision when he's supporting the sporting director that he has? Now is a different story when you don't have a sporting director and he is making the decisions. Then now he's the one who's going to make mistakes, and if he's going to prove everybody that he makes bad decisions and he doesn't know how to pick soccer players, then so be it. Now he's going to show. But at this point, I don't think he had any really saying on what players to bring or not. You have a sporting director is bringing you players. You trust in that person because they were brought to do that since day one. Then you're gonna
Mhm.
say, okay,
But so far,
I
it's
don't
Hack
see why
making
not.
those decisions, right? So,
But we don't
so
know
it's
that.
Hack bringing the players, and then or potential players, and now it's more
Well,
of a team effort than versus
so
you bring me players and I sign off. Now it's we sort of figure out how.
yeah.
Well, technically, if
Like
Hack is
right
just
now,
interim,
like right now since Lutz left, or overall everywhere.
I think overall at this moment it's most likely a team initiative because they don't have that guy that is it's their full-time job. Because now we're all talking about people that have other job duties on top of now sporting director slash picking players. So I think for me is the all of this,
I,
unqualified or don't trust. We got to a point to where a lot of these guys now have to do the work because a sporting director is not here anymore.
so
But at the end of the day, there's not one only person that signs off of a player.
and I get that business doesn't stop. I understand the decisions have some of the decisions have to be made. I understand you want to figure out roster spots, right? And like, yeah, you still have I think 5 senior roster spots, 6 supplemental roster spots left. You can change roster models. You could buy JGR down out of U22. There's still roster flexibility for someone to come in and make their put their fingerprint on this club. Jerry, you're right. Yeah, that is all speculation. But I think the problem is the speculation has led to a state of distrust where there. I think there's a large part of the fan base that does, and I'm going to include myself in that. That right now, because of this, doesn't. And I know, and again, I'll say this, admitting the club does not owe us a thing. They don't owe us an explanation. They don't have to pull back the magic curtain and say this is what's going on. This is who's doing A, B, and C, and who's doing E, F, and G. They don't owe it to us. But I think right now the fans don't trust Diego. They don't know. I don't know that they know enough about Hack and his background to say whether he is or is not qualified to make these decisions. And they don't trust the process under which they're being made.
The
That's where I
unknown
am, and that's my
process.
issue.
The
Well,
unknown process,
that
And
apparently
let's
that has apparently convinced Berkey to stay.
which is pretty good. And if no one knows what hack experience is and background, they might want to start doing a Googling because
so
even I, that
let's
is
have
not
this.
part of the US system, we all know what hack knows and who he does it. He literally covered every position you can think of from youth sports all the way to the professionals, from IGM to what Philadelphia head coach to shoot
Mm-hmm.
Vasilev know them since they were teenager or Kiel since. I mean, if they're still questioning hack experience, I understand that part. But I think everybody's kind of not trusting because of not knowing what is happening behind closed door.
And because we had bad results, but at the
Yeah,
same time, it's like, in one thing to add of all this, and without trying to offend anybody of the fan base and all the media and podcasters and all the people out there that they're commenting, and include myself because I'm not very knowledgeable on MLS. Like I started following MLS 3 years ago, really in deep when the team for when we started the team. I started following in full depth what MLS was. I've been watching soccer all my life, but all this fan base is new fan base. We're a 3 4 year fan base, and we have people commenting that they're experts in every field, and they can judge people like Diego or Hack when don't even have a clue what these people do. They're just saying, "Oh well," because he doesn't have experience. It was like, and what you do? Do you have more experience? Because I believe the most outrageous comments that I've seen, I can picture people that they start watching soccer 3 years ago.
That makes sense.
The most outrageous. not the ones that they have some sense, not the comments that people that have some knowledge. But like Mo's saying, who's gonna question hack word knowledge of soccer and network? If you really question that, you start watching soccer 3 years ago.
And well, I mean, to Chris's point, he was a failed coach in Philly, if I recall correctly. But I mean, that's not enough to damn his
You know how
career in
many
the
failed
industry.
coaches?
Well, I know that's my point. That's why I
Yeah,
said it's not enough to
yeah.
undo.
Mourinho
Um,
made more money being fired
that's
than
true.
Hey,
anything else, but yet
no win,
he's
no
one of the
winner.
greatest coaches of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah,
But
So
yeah, so I don't know about Philadelphia, but all I do is
I know
I'm just
U.S.
talking.
soccer.
Huh?
I know U.S. soccer have a huge image of Hackwork.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone that I've kind of talked to, like outside of MLS, that I'm saying is that literally who I'm talking. Like, was it what last year when I went to Tampa to
mhm,
watch the Rowdies play? And then all of a sudden I'm interviewing Leo Fernandez that just retired this year. And all come and behold is that, oh, Hack actually is the one that got him into Philadelphia in the MLF draft. And then he's the one that's actually still was mentoring him in Tampa while he was playing. So you see,
mm,
so that's why I would say outside of MLS environment, all of the people that I've spoke to just US soccer just in general, they mentioned him his name. So
mm,
I that's the only part where I was a little bit confused where people maybe have
mm,
lack of trust or if it's lack of knowing what maybe that's where the mistrust is. And no, I'm not defending Diego. No, I'm not defending Hack. I it's not like I know them, right?
mhm.
I'm just saying that some of the anger that's being put or saying that's maybe the one that I don't understand to a point because it's been a little bit of time since they've kind of making these decisions.
Yeah.
I understand a lot of us don't agree with a lot of them, but maybe it's just that our season's been so bad that anything that go a little bit sideways will get a rise out of us. Maybe.
Well, I just think it's the order too, because I think everybody was thinking season's over. You have until the end of November to make roster decisions. We don't have, and everything that we heard along the way was sporting director first, head coach, roster decisions. Berkey's
Yeah.
an anomaly. That's a whole other beast outside of everything else, in my mind. So that I didn't mind. That you wanted to get done, whatever, fine. But I don't know. I guess to your point, it sounds like maybe I have homework to do to understand more about the way soccer works. And maybe we just have to prepare for the unknown and walk this walk together and see what the offseason brings us because we've got a little while until camp will kick off in January.
There's more soccer than that, but yes.
Well, yeah, we've got European soccer between now and then. We've got Champions League, all the domestic leagues. We've got World Cup camps for a lot of stuff. When's AFCON, Mo?
December
All right,
leading to
so
this. So make sure you go and watch it because that's happening. But I don't know if we're getting ready to wrap up because I think this was a very good and interesting discussion towards
yeah,
the end. So I kind of like that part. But did you
yeah.
see David Alaba is talking? Think NYCFC is thinking about Alaba from Real Madrid. They
Oh
made an
wow,
Really?
offer of
I
like
haven't seen that.
1.5 million or something
I didn't see that.
because they're trying to clear some of their. Well, dude was making 22.5 million a year, but there's another guy that's come that people are trying to lure, which is good for MLS. Um,
So Alibi is gonna get every sale that they do in the Empire State Building.
That it sounds like so. Oscar's got new work as an agent. He's going to go make up a whole bunch of new deals for every St. Louis player to get some kind of special thing.
bam.
And so somebody's gonna
I
somebody's
mean,
gonna own the
hire me.
somebody's gonna own the Louis the
I'm
14th
open to
statue or
working.
whatever it is in St. Louis. The next time someone's gonna have part ownership of the zoo. I don't know. It's going to be a blast. But no, guys, this was fun. This was a good discussion. Maybe we should have kicked it off with this. Instead of going through all the rigmarole of the Olafs and the hires and the fires, this was good. Yeah, and it's a good way to tie a bow on the season.
Yes, and Chris, thanks for coming and starting more trouble over there for us. Let's blame Chris for everything. He started it.
I needed somebody on my side.
We're on your side. We're on your side, Jeremy.
I know.
We're all troublemakers. But yeah, I think that's
Answer that question before we go.
I mean, like I said, there wasn't one that they've made so far. I guess I don't like the Berkey DP thing, but we've kind of explained some of that. And outside of that, I can't be mad at any of the decisions that have been made.
I think I see this. Go ahead.
The only thing I will say, Mo, this might make you mad, but I'm gonna say this. If we don't bring back Kessler and Josh Yarrow is the only backup plan we have for center back, that's going to be a problem.
How are you going to get me mad? You're trying to start.
I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm just saying that
Oscar, you see this?
I see it. I see what he did. I see what he did.
Yeah. Why, Jeremy? Why? Why?
Just have some. He just has some courage just because Man United won 2 in a row.
Top 6.
I would say that
would be incorrect though, because
they were good on the business side. If I think that all those players are gonna play and stay, I would have switched Durkin for Morales. That would be my choice to pick.
You're a troublemaker.
But Morales and the business side is not a good deal to extend him, because if you're not planning to keep him, it's going to be hard to sell. So you get stuck with a player that is not easy to sell. In the other way, Durkin, I think, is more appetizing for others to be sell. So I think that's why they did it. Or I want to think they did it. It's just to make business after and then not to keep him.
Jeremy, read the comments. That is not
I know. I see what Mello said, and I was going to
screenshot it.
No, I'm not screenshotting it. I was actually going to pull. I'm pulling up a comparison right now between the two because I'm just curious.
Jeremy, what he's gonna do is in socials, he's gonna put how after Critchley talks on the media, now he's gonna put Mello after talking to the media. Mello said, he's gonna go. Make sure you get a good picture of Mello and just put it out on social media. He's just saying Mello after the interview said.
Oh my God, that's funny.
That will go viral. That will go viral.
That would be a moment. I mean, there are some things that Euro does do better than Timo. I will say that.
Let's all be fair. I will never say that to that point.
No.
I think they each have some of the characteristic that needed. But one thing that, even if people are saying, maybe third, fourth string CB, one thing you can say is that he stayed healthy.
Well, yeah.
That's step number 1.
That's true.
I want to add something, and it's because of the comment of that we need a true 6.
Mm-hmm.
If Jaro, Timo, Parker, Horn, Heaver, name it. Name the center back. If any of those had a good 6, they would have not suffered as much as they have suffered these past 2 years. Because guess what? When we start getting so chaotic on the center backs, when we lost another of Mo's favorites,
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. No, it was one of my favorites too. Jalo Blum.
Yeah.
He was a true six. He gave balance to the team. So the center backs were not that like unprotected. Like they were not spread out. Um,
Mm.
so if we bring a good six,
Well,
I wouldn't be concerned about like having Jaro as the only backup
okay.
if it's the situation.
Well, either that or I think Yarrow works in a back three. I didn't have a problem because I mean, who were the guys playing under Olaf in a back three fairly well for a while?
Jaro, Kessler, and Hubert.
Keeper, yeah. And those are two of the three that many people are like, why are they still here?
But I
What
think
is that fish?
it's the balance. I have no clue
Wait,
what that is, but it
what?
says no. It's supposed to say no, but for some reason this thing.
There's
You
a
have a
fish,
fish.
Brandon.
There's a fish in the chat.
And you know what? That's how it goes.
It's
But
after dark. There's fish in the chat.
after. But you know that's the true closure of the season. And no, Aaron, it's not going to be 2.5 months until we talk. We have to find another way to keep going. Like 3.5, it's way too long.
Yeah, well, self promoting over here, I guess. Santos will have a derby, our
Oh.
event at the Derby de Mente. We are most likely inviting all the sport groups to build a team. Anybody that wants to build a team and come and play, we're gonna make like a tournament instead of just a game. Um, I think we have a date, but I'm not gonna send that out yet. But just
Hmm.
keep checking on it. Keep checking on Santos. We'll publish it. We will spread the word. But we definitely gonna have one that where everybody is welcome to participate, to play, to just be out there, to have fun, to help us clean the park. It's also we do a community service to clean up the park and restoring a little bit of the park. So it's coming up. It's not too far away. I believe it's like if it's not the second week of November, it's the third week of November on the weekend. So just stay in touch, and we'll probably see you there. And maybe we can do a top corner talk about that
Hmm.
and who won, and we criticize the players that they were there and how great performances
Hmm.
they did and how much experience they had hiring players and
We'll rate Mo's managerial tactics.
Hey, you saw the screenshots. I got receipts.
You do.
And
yeah, look, I
my
was a
kids will
referee
say
last
though,
year.
my kids will
No.
say though, make sure you have those tackles ready.
Oscar, you're about as good as the ref from the City 2 game then.
Dude, I was drinking so much beer and on my phone,
Oh
and
boy.
it just like it was, and I couldn't play. I mean, I don't think I can even play this year either because I'm having surgery in like less than a month. So
Look at
Oh
him
man.
already copping out.
He can be on the sidelines. We'll have a showdown, Mo versus Oscar.
We'll have a wheelchair for Oscar. We're like, there you go, come on. Woo!
well, no, I think that will be before before the surgery, but
You are DP.
Yeah. Well,
You don't,
we'll
you
watch.
cannot get injured.
We'll watch for the date. Who knows? By that time,
and
maybe
look at
we'll have.
me complain about Kessler missing games, and I'm still here on the bench.
Maybe we'll have roster moves by then as a sporting director and a coach. We'll
Aaron
see.
said 10.
Said 10.
He said 10. But yeah, I think I don't know about you guys, but we went long, which was a
Yeah.
fun one. And yeah, I don't know, Jeremy. Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm all out of content. I think I've got all the graphics up. Oh, real quick, I do want to I just very quickly I want to just give one recognition to Marcel Hartle, real quick. Because he had a hell of a season, and I do think he deserves just a brief recognition. He missed the penalty. I know this is it, I promise. But he played the set among midfielders in MLS, according to the American Soccer analysis group. He had the second most minutes. He was 8th in goals added per 96. He covered the most distance, 258 miles. The 6th most shot creating actions, 3rd best passing percentage, 9th most expected assists, 3rd most key passes. He's a DP for a reason. I know under Olaf, a lot of people were questioning it, but I think Marcel really came into his own this year in the MLS. And I know he didn't have the goals and the assist numbers that folks thought he would have after his time from St. Pauli, but in that role as a 10, I don't know. I thought he did a lot of really great work. So I wanted to at least throw that up real quick just to give Marcel a shout.
Yeah, just imagine what
And
he can
Melo,
do.
like it or not, he gave me his shirt.
So it's a hardtail love vote. See us, see Jeremy. There you go.
And he
We have
signed
it.
it now. I have it signed. I have to frame it.
Yeah, I need to get mine signed from that guy in the background.
There you go.
Yeah, I went to the zoo and he was there. And that was the only line I made. Just like,
nice.
I'm doing this line. This is the moment. And it's like, I promise I won't bother you anymore.
And then Oscar next year. This is a new kid. Can you please can I have it?
Come on, Cello. Come on.
That's great, boys. It's been fun.
It sure was. And no, do not wait for it till January. Do not wait till February. Do not wait 3.5 months. We will be coming back. You don't know when we're going live to talk about something that happened. So make sure you stay tuned. And yes, I forgot who asked. Hopefully, Charlie will decide to grace us with his presence again. I don't know. You may have seen him at the CITY2 game if you were lucky enough. Oh, looks like I got a jersey from an MLS Cup winner. So, Melo, do you mind telling us who is that MLS Cup winner? Because
He's I can tell you too, but I don't take his shot. But he likes to talk to our rivals all the time instead of our team. So he wants jerseys from the rivals.
Was no, it
so you
wasn't.
say just talk to them, or he
wasn't. It wasn't. Well, no, Kaliskin hasn't won, and I don't think that's not the guy that was looking for Kaliskin's kit, was it? I was trying to think. I know I saw a post from somebody who was trying to get that guy's kit the other day. Or
we're gonna give Melo just a fraction of a second. Come on, you can't just leave us hanging.
Suspense is killing us, Melo. Come on now.
Tick tock.
All right, give him 10 seconds, and then I'll spoil the.
Painful.
Dude, no way.
That's sick. That's cool.
Yeah, we ain't mad. That's not our rival.
They're always rivals.
No, we whoop them. They never beat us.
Well, true, and that's probably why he gave the shirt. He was like, oh, whatever,
just leave me alone. But hey,
no, but it's funny because Melo has a big collection of shirts too. So
nice.
He goes every time, like he researched the players, is like, oh, this one has he playing here or here, and then he brings the shirt, and if it's from his country, he gets like the Turkish people to come. But I will say he has had better luck with players from other teams to actually cross the barrier and come and talk to close to than our own players.
Well, make sure you go
the
and
last
watch
game, for
the
example,
AFCON.
he had one of the Turkey guy in RSL. He came and jumped the barrier, came talk to him. He didn't have the shirt, so he was like, Melo told, I was right next to him, but Melo told me too. Like, he told him that he feels sorry he didn't have the shirt. He would have given it to him, but he signed that Turkish shirt that he had. So it's a lot more interaction from. Believe it or not, it's more interaction from players from other teams than the ones from us.
Oscar, you had to finish this podcast with something like that.
You want me to put another one? I was watching the game. What was last night? Which game was MLS last night? San Diego.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And they finished. And guess what? Guess what? You will never guess. They finished the game, and shockingly, They went to the supporter section first.
Of course, Jeremy. They just
Believe it
won.
or not.
Jeremy, they just won their first ever playoff
Mhm.
Yeah.
game.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Don't jump in conclusions yet. And then I was watching Minnesota and Seattle, and guess what?
What?
They did go to the supporters first too.
And they sing Wonderwall up there. That's like they have a really cool tradition up there in Minnesota.
That one's really good. I definitely
Yeah.
like. But hey, we will sing St. Lou.
We
If
will.
they will come right away to us, then we'll be louder.
Well, we always sing it
If
right,
they don't come when we're full, they come 30 minutes later when everybody's gone.
and we're not singing anymore because we do sing it right
And
after the
we also
final
don't
whistle.
win games. So
Well, but we
Yeah.
didn't lose on my birthday. That's all that matters.
There you go.
And we finished above SKC.
Well, with that said, I
yeah.
have a lot more questions for Melo, so I'm gonna have to reach out to him. But we'll talk about this hometown city on
All
that
right.
part. But with that said,
Thank you,
guys,
everybody. We'll
thank you
see
for
you soon.